executive session?
I can, or I can go at the end. It doesn't matter.
Oh, do it. That's good. Whenever.
Okay, I guess I should just start.
Okay.
But I'll go.
Good evening. May I call to order a Borough Council meeting for March 17th, 2026. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Curry?
Here.
Ms. Knoll?
Here.
Mr. Lister?
Here.
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Reed?
Here.
Ms. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Wallenbecker?
Here.
All present.
I'd like to report on our last executive session. We discussed litigation and real estate. No action was taken. Next, I'm going to turn to Mayor Lloyd.
If Mr. Foreman could please come forward. Mr. Foreman? So I heard recently that it was your 30-year anniversary. Congratulations and thank you. So I had this proclamation. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I wanted to acknowledge a couple things because 30 years is really amazing, and I wanted to thank you. So for 3 decades, you have demonstrated an unwavering commitment and leadership in the field of emergency management to the borough, and you've played a vital role in strengthening our community resilience, coordinating multiple agency response efforts, and guiding our citizens and organizations through times of crisis and recovery. Your work has included planning for disasters, managing emergency operations, fostering partnerships among public safety agencies, and ensuring that the community remains prepared for natural and man-made hazards. Your knowledge, dedication, and tireless service demonstrated have greatly contributed to the safety, preparedness, and well-being of the residents of Borough of Middletown. Your service represents not only years of service, but a legacy of leadership, mentorship, and commitment to the public safety that will continue to benefit future generations of emergency management professionals. So with this proclamation, and we have a plaque for you, I do hereby recognize and commend you for your 30 years of outstanding service in the field of emergency management and extend my sincere appreciation to your service and dedication to the Borough of Middletown and its residents. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Next, do we have any public comment on agenda items?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Fowler. I live at 138 Ann Street, Middletown, PA. I'd like to make comments on Resolution 26.9 Code of Conduct and 26.10 Reporting Policy. Unfortunately, although Jack does provide a service for us at no cost, it's 99% of the time you can't hear it, you can't see it, it doesn't work. Although I appreciate it, if I can't come, I can't come. Work runs late on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. So I do appreciate the fact that Mr. Curry is able to put his phone up without including anybody else's faces, because he would need your permission. And according to Robert's Rules of Order, which I believe is what you guys run under, he is allowed to do that. So I'm not exactly sure what the huge issue was the other week when I was watching on Mr. Curry's live feed, who made no comments, wasn't typing anything. I'm not exactly sure again what the issue is, but that is the recording that 99% of us watch. He's getting over 100, anywhere from 50 to over 100 views while we are here. And I think that's a valuable resource, unless we would like to spend taxpayer money in putting in a brand new system so that we can have one that Mr. Jack back here can run a little more efficiently, and on a site that would run a little more efficiently than, unfortunately, I know I probably called him Jack and it's not Jack and I'm going to hell. It's okay, I'm sorry.
It's Jack.
It's Jack, okay. I had him and his brother confused. But I mean, if the borough wants to use taxpayer money to put something in, I'm against that too. I pay enough. But that's just something to say is, again, it's not that I don't think he's doing anything illegal. According to Robert's Rule of Law and the Sunshine Act, he's not doing anything illegal by not showing any of your faces, which I think is perfectly fine. He should have your permission. But again, I can hear clearly every one of you, which is great, so I know everything that's going on. And I just don't see what the permanent issue is as long as he's not videotaping anyone else. He's not typing on his phone, responding to anybody's comments. And that's what I have to say about that. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Public comment on agenda items.
Matthew Fagan, 26 Hillside Road. Same topic. I know a few of you guys on the board, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's ridiculous to, any of you can put up your phones, any of you can do that. I'm not necessarily friends with Mr. Curry. I'm going back and forth with him, but to censor, do I go? My bad. To censor somebody from holding a cell phone up on a public forum, this is a public building. We're allowed to carry guns in here legally. Okay, concealed carry permits. Yes, you are. I looked it up before I came here tonight. Okay, there is no reason whatsoever any of you can say anything about recording in here. It is perfectly legal. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment on agenda items.
Greg Wilsbach, 719 Spruce Street, Middletown. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Madam President. I want to reiterate again for number 16 with regards to the basketball court at Oak Hills. And I had a chance to see some of the layouts that I guess were put online. And again, I want to say that any full court in that park will ruin that park with the big kids. You are not doing the little kids any justice. They will be sitting on the basketballs watching the big kids play. Also, I seen that you were looking at the backside, and I can tell you this, that none of those people knew anything about this, like on Briarcliff and stuff like that. They're not on Facebook. They're not part of, other people's Facebook friends. So, I can guarantee you will have issues with any kind of full court back there. Now, I heard some talk about a half court that would be for youth. I think that would be sustainable in that park. Down, if it was down in the outfield or somewhere out in there, just a half court. But to do anything other than that, I'm totally against. And one other thing I just wanted to point out, that if you were to look at a full court on the backside there, you got to realize if you ever sat out at Hoffer Park after a game or before a game's gone on and see the kids that drive in there to the basketball courts, they don't walk in, so they all drive and they fly. And if you would see the kids in the parking lot at Oak Hills, the little 3-year-olds on their bicycles, tricycles, playing in the parking lot, because there's usually no cars in the parking lot, and you put a full court in there, that's a recipe for disaster. The blood's going to be on not just that driver's hands, but I think the people that made the mistake of putting a court out there. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I hope council makes the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Greg Wilsbach, 713 Spruce Street. I want to start off, if Jenny, if you can pass out these. This one's for me. And every single one of you guys can take one. Should be enough. I turn it off. So what I'm passing out now, and Jim, if you could show the people at home a couple of the photos that you'll get them eventually. So what we have here is back Monday, Tuesday when we had a 70-degree day. And these are 3 areas of our park at Oak Hills. The first couple photos are in the grassy area. We have kids playing football. If you skim through it, you'll see the pavilion. We'll see kids underneath it. And then there's also another family that's there cooking out, having a party. Near the end, you'll see the parking lot, which is full or near full. 3 different areas of our park, and 3 different areas that, for whatever reason, we're considering destroying. You take out any of these, it changes completely the park, and the whole dynamic changes. I want to also dive into the recent poll that you guys seen online. I guess my take on it is you can poll 100 people, 1,000 people. It doesn't really matter. The biggest issue of this whole argument is that this park is not big enough to put a full court. It changes. It will change. It was not designed to have a court in it. So, if you put something like a full court or any kind of court, it will change this entire thing. This was Monday, Tuesday when we had those nice days. Mm-hmm. You will not see this again. It will change. I've seen it before. That's about all I have to say. Other than in regards to the poll that was online, I think you guys can all agree that in that little neighborhood there that borders, there's a lot of older people. I think we can all agree on that. How many of those older people that are 60 years older don't have Facebook? They're not able to take a poll. Because I guarantee if you walk door to door and knocked on those doors that border that park there, Briarcliff, Oak Hills, and that Spruce Street there, mine included, you will have the majority of people that say they do not want this ballpark or the ball court anywhere near it. So those that are on the fence, I'm asking you, please just make the right decision. Don't ruin the park that I grew up with for 33 years. If you have any questions or, feel free, reach out. I could go on and on about this, but I'm not going to. But look back at your photos. You have a ball court that was, a park that was completely full just a couple days ago. And this is what it is every single day of the summer. So please make the right decision. Keep the ball court out of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment on agenda items?
Seeing none, agenda item number 1.
Do I have a motion to approve council meeting minutes for the March 3rd, 2026 meeting as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Agenda item number 2.
Do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills as shown on the accounts payable list dated March 12th, 2026, which is for the period of February 27th through March 12th of 2026, and to ratify the approval of such bills already paid and to authorize the appropriate officials to take the required actions to make those payments?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 3.
Do I have a motion to accept the proposed 2026 to 2030 5-year CapEx plan dated March 1st, 2026, as provided by the Middletown Water Joint Venture, subject to specific reservations and rejections noted in our letter of response dated March 17th, 2026?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Ken, was this something that was a part of the contract, or is this something that the government is making us do?
It's part of the lease agreement.
Lease agreement. Okay.
Do you mind reading the last part of the motion? It's subject to.
Subject to specific reservations and rejections noted in our letter of response dated March 17th.
In other words, agreeing to the plan but noting this letter is already there.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 4.
Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-8, authorizing the execution of a 5-year cable franchise agreement between the Borough of Middletown and Verizon Pennsylvania LLC?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Where did we land with this? We were in discussion back and forth about removing the cables, and did anything come from that, Ken? Or?
No, they held their position that they weren't going to change their agreement, and we spoke to Cohen Law Group, and they subsequently had a meeting with Jim Diamond. We expressed our concerns, and we did have a conversation with Verizon, and Verizon stood firm on the proposed wording and agreement. However, they said, send us your concerns. We'll send a representative out to look at them. They did that, and it was reported to me they reported to Rob that they have a plan that originally wasn't going to take place until next year, where they're taking all their copper wires off the poles because they're not using any of them anymore. But then I had, I think it was Angie reported to me, a neighbor out in Oak Hill saw them already removing copper this year, taking it off the poles out in that area. So that was where they stood, that, we have a plan to get it off. We understand your concern, but, corporate agreement comes from corporate and not the local guys, and they weren't going to change it. Is that how you remember it, Jim?
Yeah, well, I wasn't party to the discussions when they came out and actually met and went around. I guess, Rob, you were involved in that, I think, and yeah, but that was my understanding, was they were going to remove and actually had walked around and
Yeah, we sent them a bunch of pictures of different places, and yeah, they did. Rob walked around with them. In fact, the project manager for that is a former Middletown Borough lineman. So yeah, he understands.
Is that Rodney?
Yeah.
Rodney Morakovich?
Thank you for bringing that up.
Madam President. Angie, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Ladies first.
How much do we receive each year from this franchise agreement? Do you know?
Each year,
I mean,
I'm
roughly.
thinking it's roughly 16,000, 18,000 a quarter.
Okay. And that goes into the police sinking fund for their vehicles? Is that where that money goes? No?
No, that's the tower agreement for the water
Okay.
tower.
Okay.
This just goes into general revenue
Okay.
for general fund.
Council Kerr?
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have been on this topic for some time about their failure to remove deadlines. Clearly, that is an issue, as it's been acknowledged that they're now going to start doing it. I too spoke with Mr. Morakovich when he was out in my area, because I sent Rob at least 4 pictures of disastrous leads just tie wrapped to telephone poles, hanging, blowing in the wind. And he too said that, yes, that's the plan, that they're going to remove this copper from now and through 27. I'm going to vote no on this, however, because Verizon is a multi-billion-dollar company, and I just don't take their word that they're going to move forward when Little Middletown is asking for them to do this. We are not a priority to them. They are about making money. They want to get their service lines in. They want to attach it to the house. They want people to pay for the service, and they don't care at all what the town looks like. They don't live here. It is not something that they care about. So unless and until it's in writing, because I guess my question, Jim, is what are the teeth that if they don't do it in 27, where's the teeth to make them do it then?
Yeah, there aren't teeth in there.
Then there's no teeth, so I vote no. I don't take a multi-billion-dollar corporation's word that they're gonna help with the aesthetic of the town when we've been complaining about this for years. I don't. So that'll be my vote.
Any further, yes,
I do have one other question. I know I had asked about this before. If they weren't going to do it, were we able to do it ourselves? Because if they were dead lines, why couldn't we, our electric department, remove the lines? I mean, they have started removing them, but if they aren't going to remove them all or remove everything that we want removed, can we remove them? Was that ever explored? Because I did ask that question.
you did.
Yeah, no, I think we could, but what I understood logistically was without them, we didn't know which wires were which. Because there's more than one company out there, I believe. But they seem to be, again, I wasn't out here for the meeting, but I understand they were walking around identifying specific things and saying we're going to remove them. You know, do they do it?
Well, they have started removing stuff in the Oak Hills area because I had a resident call me and tell me that like they had removed their whole block, wires on their whole block. So, but if they don't do everything that we expect, as Mr. Carter pointed out, they don't care about the aesthetics of the town. Then can we go back and remove what we want removed?
I would recommend we wouldn't do that. When we talked about us removing wires in the past, it was a downed wire that's laying in the street and causing an issue that we'd cut it off because it's already downed, or a wire that's low where traffic can't get through, we've cut them off. But to go house by house and start, it's a big project, and we don't have that, I don't think have that kind of staff. But more importantly is to go house by house and have people who aren't Verizon or Comcast employees and end up cutting the wrong wire. I think we could just expose our borough to cutting somebody's service off and being responsible for restoring it and paying the cost.
Yeah, so if you call the Cohen Law Group's the one negotiating directly with them, they're just saying we cannot, there's nothing we can do to get this, but the Cohen Law Group have a good working relationship with them. They'll come out, it might take them a lot, but so they did send someone out. Again, I wasn't at that meeting, but I understood it seemed acceptable to at least our department.
So it seems like they've given us two choices. One, accept the agreement with the wording in it as is, and they're saying if you got a problem, we have a system. They sent us updated contact information, use this, but these are probably national agreements and they're not going to change them for us. Or don't have a franchise agreement with them.
And we haven't received the first quarterly disbursement yet, have we?
Not yet, no.
It's amazing that they started removing it and this isn't signed yet. You only get leverage once. They're doing it, this isn't signed, they want you to sign it, and if they don't abide by it, it's a 5-year agreement. How badly do you want to service Middletown? That's my question. Because who's to say they don't start removing it in 27 and then a bigger, more important project to Verizon comes to fruition and they decide that has to take priority. So all those wasted lines that are doing nothing in Middletown other than to make it look absolutely horrible, it's just not priority. There's nothing in here. It doesn't say you're going to do it. It doesn't say by what time frame you're going to do it. It doesn't give a deadline. It doesn't do anything. It's their general agreement, and I just think that's concerning.
What if we don't? What if we don't agree to this as a whole? What happens? What does it mean to
I
not
don't
have?
get your money, would think. You wouldn't get your franchise agreement money, and I don't know legally what teeth you have to kick them out of town.
Well,
Because
they can't go on your polls without the agreement.
well, they have some of their polls too.
Sure.
So we'd have to look at that poll agreement we have with them, and that's above my ability to answer that tonight here because that's all legal contracts that are in place.
Yeah, and really, Cohen Law Group would have to address that because they're in the middle of that one.
So while the language in the agreement comes from corporate, Rob, may I ask, the Verizon staff who comes into town and they're starting to take down the wires, do they communicate with you? Do they say, we're coming next Tuesday and?
No, I only found out that they were doing that from Ken. So I didn't even know about it either.
Mm-hmm. Is that something we would want to know, or?
This is kind of the way big corporations work. You know, unfortunately, they don't hold the hands of the, you know, the local governments. You know, they kind of operate on their own plans and timelines independently of us. They are in the public right of way, so they have some rights probably with that. There are some rights by the franchise agreement that are given. Yeah, as far as not entering into an agreement with them, you would have to, like Jim says, get the advice of another lawyer who specializes in that. And
Well, Cohen Law Group does.
yeah, they do.
That's their.
And they're the, you know.
Thank you, Rob.
And they're saying what? There's nothing we can do.
They've said they've tried everything they can to negotiate it and they won't budge.
While I agree with what Mr. Curry said, I also see $16,000 a quarter going out the door for this borough.
Yep.
And we obviously had an attorney look at it again. I don't want to spend more attorney fees to look at again when they've already said there's nothing they can do. I do understand what Jim is saying, I do. But I also see the $16,000 a quarter coming in and a struggling community.
Is it 16 or 18?
That was 18. I think.
At least it's, or
Is it?
It's usually between 16 and 18.
It varies
Oh,
from
right.
quarter to quarter
Still-
based
Okay.
upon subscriptions. Yeah, I don't know that this would change anybody's mind. I don't intend it to, but just out of curiosity, I called the CapCog a few months back and said, you know, other people expressed some of these concerns going into this too. I said, have there been any other municipalities of the 28 or whatever who joined together to negotiate this deal with Cohen and Verizon that have not accepted the franchise agreement? They said, no, they've all accepted it so far except Middletown.
And that's why Verizon's a multi-billion-dollar company, because it's a David and Goliath situation. They know that you want $16,000 quarterly in a small town with a small budget, so you're going to do whatever they want. I have a compromise. Approve it for 1 year. Instead of a 5-year plan, do it for one. They said they're going to remove it all in 27. Go ahead. Approve it for a year, take it down to 27, I'll believe you, and then I'll sign a 5-year after that.
You're looking at me like, you could do that, but you're going to have to renegotiate it in another year on your own. Cohen was brought in at the power of 20-some people paying for his services to do that. It would be all on you a year from now, legally.
I don't need to spend a ton of money for Cohen Law to do that. I need them to go back to Verizon and say, they are totally fine with the wording of your agreement, but the 5 is going to become a 1. Instead of 5 years, it's 1 year. You abide by what you said you were going to do, they'll take you at your word. We won't change any wording in the agreement. His billable hours are going to be, they want 1 year, you're saying 5. What's your answer? That's it.
I like that idea. It kind of like forces their hand to prove that they're going to follow through with it.
Ken, when you spoke to folks at CapCog, do they also have the same complaint of messy wires in their town, or?
Not everybody expressed that, but we had a group meeting before we kicked this off, and a few of them did. But you can drive around and see them in other towns.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just hard to tell by looking at them. You see a mess of wires if you go through Icefire and Steelton and Hummelstown, and It's hard to tell unless you really walk the streets and see which ones are
Yeah.
hanging, inactive, or looped on a pole. I don't often look up at that when I drive around.
So is there any strength in those 28 coming together and negotiating together?
Those 28 have already signed their 5-year agreements.
Yeah, but I guess this is going forward.
Well, this is what we attempted to do this time. It didn't work.
Okay. Anyone else?
I mean, there are things that did work, but the wire thing, forcing them to get it down right now or within a time frame didn't work. But the things that did work, we got more money for the franchise, little, percentage increase, and some other things were tweaked into the agreement.
Okay.
But
Would anybody consider the 1 year?
I will.
I probably would.
I think my only hesitation is, as you pointed out, and we all know, just, more legal dollars. I understand your point. It's a pretty simple question. It shouldn't take 10 hours to resolve.
Is there a deadline for this?
to pass it, as I reported before, the deadline was, the new year started January 1. I'm curious to see if come the end of March or April, if we get our franchise fee, since we haven't signed the agreement. I don't know what's going to happen.
So, sorry, I saw you getting to talk. So this is actually for starting in 2026. So your 1 year would only be 2026. So you would have to go
then do 2 years.
You would
Sure.
have to go 2 years.
You're right. Do it for 27 because they said it would extend into 27.
So then you're looking at 2 years to go back to them with an attorney to say, or you're looking now to go back with the attorney.
No, I'm looking right now for Cohen Law to write an email to the council for Verizon and say, Middletown Borough Council is willing to approve your agreement as written right now, but every 5 is going to be changed to a 2.
Or you could even do it, same concept, but 5 years, but could be terminated by the borough after the second year if the borough's not satisfied with the wire removal or something like that. And then you wouldn't even have to do another document.
That I like.
It's same concept, just different.
So what would it take to make that small tweak?
So there's a whole different law firm handling this.
Oh, my.
That's the.
don't you do it all?
Logistically,
Yeah.
it wouldn't take anything, much of anything. It's a couple words. It's unfortunately the folks at Cohen Law were saying Verizon got to a point and said that's it. We're not making any more changes. So this is a counter proposal. Maybe they make the change and say.
See, Jim, while I get your suggestion, I think if I'm Verizon, it's adding something. All I want to do is take this agreement and change the 5 to a 2, because then it's their language. It's what you use everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just-
a good point. In
I'm-
terms of words, you don't even have to
Right.
add any extra words. You're just changing
Just
the
give me a
number.
shorter term than what this is.
With the idea that you need to follow through on your promise of 2 years.
I'll trust that you said 26 and 27. I'll trust that, and I'll sign it for 2 years. And if you don't do it throughout 26 and 27, then I don't have to renew.
Doesn't the borough, and I'm just asking this question, if I remember correctly from when I was on previously, don't we have something in the bylaws or whatever that we can't hold the next incoming council to any term or contract?
No. So you're right to an extent, but it's whenever you deal with the outside world and contracts and things like what they call proprietary things. So just like the, concession, when you lock in with,
somebody
outside players,
okay.
contracts and things,
I was just saying maybe we could use that as an excuse as to why we couldn't go 5 years.
No, so that really, and they're aware of that because they do these all over the country. So, but it's a good thought. It's just not.
I must say I hate those wires also. I understand they're electric wires and they're electric poles, but. So there are 3 people interested. Dawn, are you interested in that?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Jenny? Chrissy?
I'd be interested, yeah, 2 year.
Then
Do you
how?
give a motion in a second?
Yeah, we need a motion and a second.
already
I have a
We already
question.
have one.
Isn't this money already calculated in to our 2026 budget?
Yes.
It is, right?
Yes.
I won't change. It's already been counted as part of our budget.
But with the agreement, they would still be required to pay the quarterly fee
If they agreed to it.
if they agree
Yeah.
to it.
I mean, you need both parties to agree to something for it to be an agreement. So this would be a counter proposal.
Okay.
So which is may get into more fees with Cohen.
How long have you guys actually been
I said
working
May.
on this?
We don't know.
A long time, and I understand Councilwoman Miller's point, but this is going to be the same situation every time that this agreement comes up. It's always going to be in our budget because we've been doing it forever. At some point, this council needs to have the guts to say to Verizon, no, you want to service our residents, we want you to help us make the town that we live in what it deserves to be. You come in, you drop your lines, that's not even technology they use anymore, and they don't care. That's why it's there. So at some point, you have to bite the bullet and shoot the rock at Goliath. That's how I feel. It's obscene. The gentleman I spoke to on the street was like, yeah, this looked really bad. There was stuff flapping in the wind. There was one pole in particular that had about 30 feet of wire that was tie wrapped around the pole because it had come down in those winds the past week. And I said, well, how much effort is it really to remove these? He said, well, the big heavy ones, it's going to be effort, but they're probably going to subcontract it out. It's copper. So somebody's going to take the copper and scrap it. They're going to pay some fee for that person to do it, and then they'll get the price on the copper. But it just shows you they can do it, but they won't do it until you make them do it. And when you look at these other towns, I know we are Middletown, but you do go into other towns. I know all of you do. You travel, and you will go into a town, you'll go, this town is so cute. I guarantee you it doesn't have 30-year-old wires hanging all over the place, cut off when they terminate service, and just leave them there. That's the problem. You have to start focusing on that aesthetic if you want to. It's a trickle-down effect for business, for people to move here, just the sheer joy of living here. That is what brings the image of a town down. So sooner or later, no matter how many times we budget for it, it has to be addressed. And if they don't agree to that, then I would say, I guess Verizon doesn't service Middletown. That's what I would do.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to accept this resolution. So that's what we have to vote on. And if we want to change it, then we need another motion and a second.
And you'll need another agreement in front of you.
Another what?
Agreement.
Yes, so we would be directing for another agreement. All right, any further discussion? All in,
As far as on the fire side, I would say I have to agree with the wires. It is atrocious, that first block of East Water Street, having to try to set up an aerial device to a 2.5-story house with the amount of wires that we have, I have to agree with trying to get them to remove, or it is hard.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion? Ken, would you read the motion again?
Motion to adopt Resolution 2026-8, authorizing the execution of a 5-year cable franchise agreement between the Borough of Middletown and Verizon LLC.
Grace, would you call the roll?
Mr. Curry?
No.
Ms. Knoll?
No.
Mr. Lister?
No.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Reed?
No.
Ms. Thomas?
No.
Ms. Willenbecker?
No. Which means we are going to take one more swing at, and does that direct to you to work with Cohen?
Well, it'd actually be.
I'll have to send the
Ken.
Cohen Law
But
Group
But
an
you should make a
email.
motion.
Yeah,
and
I'll make a motion.
Formal motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to, so wait, let me, hold on a second. Do you want me to make the motion to direct, for council to direct staff to direct Cohen Law Group to make that offer? Okay. I'll make a motion to have the borough staff reach out to the Cohen Law Group to indicate that the borough council is willing to execute the agreement as written, with the exception of the term being 2 years instead of 5 years. And that's the only thing we want them to relay to Verizon.
Second.
Motion and second, any more discussion?
I would just like to say that I agree with the wires and all of that, but as a Verizon customer, I hope something works out because I would like to continue my Verizon service, so.
Same
Yeah,
here.
I think we'll,
At
So
least
please
I know-
don't ruin that.
At least I know I'll have it for 2 years.
Yeah, you got it for 2 years.
okay. Motion and second, any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
6-1. Thank you. Agenda item number 5.
Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-9, adopting a code of conduct for elected and appointed borough officials?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion?
Yes. So, I looked this over again. Sorry, Grace. I looked this over again, and I have some suggestions on a revision to it. It's a compromise. I know Pat and Jim are not gonna like this, but it is a compromise that I'm willing to make with it. As far as section 2, that is in the code of conduct, to remove all the comments under it except for the recess of public meeting, the bullet point of recessing a public meeting. Section 3, removing everything except for no attorney-client relationship provision. Section 4, retain in its entirety. Section 5, remove everything except for legal advice. And section 6 and 7, leave everything there. I know we're all adults and I know we should be prepared to come to meetings. And that's why I'm willing to remove those section 2. But those other provisions are something that I feel strong about and I think they need to stay in.
Could you go through them again?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
You know what I wonder? Because there are so many, I wonder if it would give us more time if they could be sent to us by email.
I can do that.
Because to take the time to go point by point, and what was so.
I know, but could you just go through them again real quick so I can mark this up so I can.
Section 2.
Yeah.
Remove everything except for the recess of public meeting.
Okay.
Section 3, only leave in the no attorney-client relationship provision.
Keep that.
Yes. Section 4, retain in its entirety. Section 5, retain legal advice. Everything else can go. 6 and 7 remain in their entirety.
Okay. So if we want to send these suggestions to all of council for consideration, then we would,
Table agenda number 5.
until,
Well, you have a motion in a second.
so we vote on it and then table it?
Yeah, if it fails, then you could.
Fails. If it
Yeah.
passes, then.
If it passes, it passes. If it fails, then you can table it.
Okay,
Or you wouldn't really be tabling it, you'd be setting another agenda for a different version of it.
we would table it until another meeting.
But you wouldn't really be tabling it if you actually pass, if you dispose of the motion.
Right.
That would shoot down this version of it, and you could always take up a different version of it, another one.
Okay,
Or if somebody wanted to amend the motion to make it a motion to table and second that, then.
Your table is tabling it as it is in this form right now
Yeah.
for another meeting.
Yeah,
So
so probably wanna-
if we're
Okay.
gonna, if it fails and we want a new version, we'll, you know, send something around and we can have it for the next meeting and
okay.
another version and another.
So then we can vote this down and then wait for the revisions and bring it back again.
Yeah.
Right, Jim?
Yeah. if you
Okay.
want to, yeah.
Any further discussion? So on this version, all in favor? Oh, Grace, do you mind calling the roll?
Absolutely not.
Ms. Knoll?
No.
Mr. Lister?
No.
Ms. Miller?
No.
Ms. Reed?
No.
Ms. Thomas?
No.
Ms. Wallenbecker?
No. Agenda item number 6.
Sorry, I was making my notes. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2026-10, adopting a policy to reasonably regulate the recording of Sunshine Act meetings of the borough?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, please. Again, I propose a compromise on the recording device. When we first started back in January, the recording device was not left on the table. The recording device was put out and passed around and pointed. But the last meeting was great. The recording device stayed on the table. And that's what I'm asking. I would do away with not being able to record at the table and having it put at the banner if it remains stationary on the table. Because it is a distraction. Holding a device while a resident or employee is speaking creates a distraction, and it can appear disrespectful. It gives the impression the speaker does not have our full attention, particularly if comments are being read. By keeping the device stationary, we maintain a professional atmosphere that signals we value the input of our staff and constituents. So I am perfectly, again, compromising. It can stay on the table as long as it stays stationary.
Madam President?
Yes.
One, that comment, I believe, is for the code of conduct policy. This recording policy deals more with the public. So I don't think that that's accurate to put it in here. And two, that's not a compromise. To me, you're still trying to dictate to me what I'm going to do with this cell phone. I'm going to record it. I'm going to point it wherever I want. It's a public building. This is a public forum. If I sat in the front row right there, I could record every single one of you up here. Somebody gets up to that podium, I could record them. You're not going to tell me where to put this phone. You're not. And it's distracting. It's not distracting. People come up, they could have a cell phone in their hand right now. You can't call it distracting. They're exercising their right to do it. There's I brought tonight. Here's 2 bottles of water, and here's 2 cell phones. Which one's recording?
So I think your other point is.
No, I'm
this
asking which
recording-
one's distracting. Because there's 2 of them here, and only one's recording. So which one's the distraction? It's absurd to say that this cell phone is a distraction. I think it's more about control, and I don't appreciate that because why was this not a problem, by the way, Don Knoll, when you sat here with me in 2017 and earlier, when I'm the one that started live streaming these meetings because nobody would come to them? I used to use a cell phone and sit right there for Borough Council and the ICDA. I'm the one that talked the borough into buying that camera, and I've been doing it throughout the years. Why is it only an issue now? Why?
It wasn't an issue when we were doing because we didn't have that.
Well, I've done it since we've had that. Why was it not an issue? None of you said it before this administration. You can't tell me which one's the distraction. You didn't have a problem with it in the past. I mean, I just think it's absurd.
But back to the point that this resolution has to do with staff and public, correct? Recording?
Well, presumably it would apply to everybody, whether you're staff, public, elected officials, if it's a
And
general
elected.
policy.
Okay.
And at the last meeting, you said we need a Sunshine Act policy to direct where these devices would go, and that was more for the public. But then the code of conduct applies only to the elected officials because we're not censuring these people.
Right.
Isn't it what we
Yeah,
said?
recording policy, though, isn't limited just to the public.
Right.
Okay, well,
I mean,
pass
it's
what you
where
want. I'm not abiding by it.
Because on the second page of it is where it says where they should be displayed.
No, I'm not doing that.
By borough staff, by the public. But it says borough staff and public.
Okay.
The second
and the
page.
other
I guess
one-
I didn't
Flip
know
it
she had
over.
the headings.
That's where it says where it must be placed.
But it doesn't talk about
Elected officials.
elected officials. It's public and staff.
Okay.
Elected officials
amendment.
is referenced in the code of conduct. They're not referenced in this. That's the point
That's
I'm
how
trying
I
to make.
understand it.
Okay.
Is that how we understand it?
Yeah, if that's what you make the rule. I'm saying Sunshine Act wise, you can make rules that are, broader than that.
Well, I know that you brought this point up the last 2 times, so does this satisfy the,
Yes, I didn't
Issue
draft
at
that, but
hand?
what I'm saying is, I'm talking from a general legal power concept. Now, if you make the rule narrower, it is narrower. You don't have to have a rule at all.
Can I speak up about something? I remember, Mr. Diamond, you telling us basically the restriction in the code of conduct when you mentioned about video recording held no weight because of the Sunshine Act, that we would need to have something else.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say was,
And I think that's
it was illegal if it said some people can't record, or somebody could argue it's illegal.
Okay.
I mean, there's a little bit of a gray area about whether the elected officials in the meeting have the same rights, under the Sunshine Act. But to the extent you could look at it as being that broad, if you just made a rule saying these people can't record, it's like, wait, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have any, everybody else can record.
So then you would need the same recording policy for everybody.
Right, and it has to be a reasonable recording policy. So if you said, like, here's a table where everybody has to put their recording devices, I mean, that's not an uncommon version.
Yep.
And I agree with Mr. Curry that I think this general recording policy that follows the Sunshine Act could be interpreted to mean people sitting at this table. because it says any person may use audio or video recorders to record all or any portion of the meeting. Said recorder shall be operated from the area set aside for public seating and may not be placed on the borough council table. Any person.
The reason that that policy is concerning is because if you go back and read the Sunshine Act cases, the court is always time, place, and manner and reasonableness. That's what the test is. For an individual in this audience to come forward and come to a public meeting and record it, the device is within their control. They can monitor the battery. They can monitor the sound. They are recording the meeting for their benefit. To say that someone sitting here has to abandon their personal device and put it on that banister or elsewhere, that is not putting me on the same playing field as these other people, simply because I sit here. If you want, I'll sit in the front row of the audience for the meeting. I mean, that's you're not treating people the same. There has been no specific case on a borough council attempting to limit an elected official from having a recording device on the table. It's all this. This is where the court cases come from. Also, I just want to point out, we are almost a third of the way into this administration. I think these meetings, although I'm sure all of us will admit many of us don't like each other, I think this is pretty normal government. I think they've been pretty nice meetings. I don't think it's been a disaster. So I don't think you need this policy, and you've proven it by getting a third of the way through the year without one.
I think we're trying to recall what was brought up that resulted in this being a separate document than the code of conduct.
Yeah, let me try to explain this.
So if this is what you had in mind,
Yeah, I don't see a problem. So now Ken's reading the words, and if it's saying all persons, then I would apply to everybody.
but the intention was only for this to apply to, as I recall, the idea was even it would be attached to the bottom of this agenda item where it says general public comment limited to 4 minutes, limited to Middletown residents, and that the recording policy for the public would almost just be attached to that, as I recall.
Yeah, here's what I'm saying is there's authority out there. So you start with the proposition, the Sunshine Act, people have a right to record. Okay? Then you have the cases saying, notwithstanding that, the governing body can set reasonable rules like nobody holds their phone, everybody puts them on the table. Everybody, every big camera stands in the back. You can do rules like that. When you had a rule that said these people can't record, then there's an issue about whether you're violating the Sunshine Act.
But we don't have that.
No, we don't.
We don't have that.
Right. But if you don't want this to apply to the elected officials, then you should be more tight with this wording about any person.
But I'll remind you where we started out with a code of conduct for council people.
Yeah.
That was prohibiting recording.
Recording, just outright
and
prohibiting.
That's where your advice came in. If you're going
Yes.
to do that, you
That
need
was
to
the problem.
do uniform with everybody and have
Yes.
a Sunshine Act
Yes.
recitation of what that law says, that everybody, you can limit where they record, but you can't say they can't record.
Yeah.
And that's what this does. It
Yeah.
says everybody records behind a rail with their device. So if a TV station came in with this policy, they wouldn't be sitting their camera up here. They'd be sitting it back there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's big legal issues implicated if you just had a no recording for public officials in this room. If you have the same, you have a general, here's our recording restriction rules.
Mm-hmm.
If you have reasonable rules, then that is what it is. But You know, and it also, when you're doing a code of conduct for elected officials, then you wouldn't normally put inside of that a general policy that's applicable to others. So
Oh, my
you'd have to have the
goodness
two.
I think this is a sign maybe we just need to get rid of the code of conduct conversation. In my opinion, we're going back and forth. We're talking about this forever. It's causing more division than anything. You stick with the values, and that's all. This has just been it's turned into a disaster, and
It's more complicated.
the intent I think was pure and good, but what it has turned into at this point is not very helpful.
So we have a motion, a second. We're discussing this document. And it's not clear. There seems to be some confusion as to what it was meant to address. It seems to me.
I
Could be
wasn't.
just
No,
me.
now, as I'm
Could be
looking at,
just
you know,
me.
I was looking at your heading, but it actually, I don't think it is ambiguous.
Okay.
I think the top part, if I'm understanding what was meant, like I said, I didn't write that, but the concept is, I mean, where the original thought came from, I think was just explaining that camera that the borough owns out there, here's how it works. So that all makes sense. And then the second part is just saying for everybody, any person attending, you know, here's
Although
what
the heading
applies.
says recording by the public. By the public. That makes me think the public. Like the example was if the media comes, or if somebody
Yeah.
like Jack
But
wants
if
to
you
record.
look at the top of the next page, it says any person may use audio, video to record.
No, I can read that. For
Okay.
me, that's where it starts to get.
Shall be operated from.
So if we delete that paragraph, that single paragraph right there, are we back to what I thought was this was to address borough staff and the public, whether it's someone attending, someone from the media?
The first part really.
No, I think you would change the any person then to say staff and public if you want to narrow that. Unless you don't want any rule. If you take out that whole top paragraph, isn't that the gist of the rule? Where they're operated from. I mean, if you know, take that out, then I'm not sure.
Yeah, the video audio recording by the public, now we could change that title, but the wording under that comes right out of the Sunshine Act.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first part was
Yes,
something
the second
I
paragraph is the big.
crafted just to explain that the public knows, hey, we are doing our own video and it will be available on the web. However, sometimes, you know, it fails, and we threw in the 4-minute thing that was discussed at one of the previous meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So the second part, like I said, is the Sunshine Act language. That basically says anybody can record. Mr. Curry, anybody at this table, anybody back there, but it's giving us that option to say, here's where you're going to record from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the last two paragraphs are the whole rule, really. So, you know, if you want it to be only the public or only the public and staff, I mean, if you think about, you know, you have almost three buckets. You have the elected officials, you have the staff and appointed.
Yeah, the confusion comes in that I used a poor title for the second part and said video recording by the public. It probably should have said video recording other than the borough's devices, any personal video recording, it should have said.
Oh, okay.
But the words are broad, the actual
Right, the
substantive
words are
rule are
broad.
broad on that. So if you look at the very back page, that's really saying this limits where you can record from.
Yeah.
And that, I would say that's whether you're elected, whether somebody sitting at this table or somebody else.
Okay. So we could vote on this and still make a small change to that heading to make it clearer?
Yeah, we could just call it personal video recording. That means the person who's ever doing it.
Okay.
I have a question. So this was brought up after we were talking about no social media interaction, yada, not being able to video in the code of conduct. That's where this came out of. So if Dawn's position of taking that part out goes through, do we even need this portion anymore?
No municipality has to have any. Well, you didn't have one. You don't have one now.
That's what I'm saying.
Some municipalities adopt regulations on where you record from.
Mm-hmm.
Some don't. But, you don't have a rule. You don't have to have a rule. You could have both kinds of things. You could have one of the two, or you could have neither. You're not required to have either. What doesn't fly to me would be a rule that just says the elected official sitting at the table can't record, because it doesn't leave an avenue where they can record. And although I don't think there's ever been a case that said that the rights to record of the Sunshine Act are really aimed at elected officials as opposed to the public, I think it's enough of a gray area that it'd be dangerous to have a rule like that, because I think it, could be challenged, and I couldn't predict the outcome of it.
Well, if our code of conduct today was passed, that's what would be going through, what you just spoke of.
The location.
Mm-hmm.
So the code of conduct put in, if you remember at the last meeting, we put in parentheses, except as allowed by the Sunshine Act. If you had no second rule that applied to everybody, Sunshine Act policy, then you could record right at the table, because that exception isn't stopping you from recording. If you had a rule that said, here's where you have to record from, then the two together would, like I said, I didn't think you could just say you can't record at this table without opening up a can of worms.
Yes, if you go back to the thing that failed,
Yeah, I got
the
you.
code of conduct, we added that in section 2, in parentheses, that refers to this document we're talking about now.
Or no document. So if you don't have this rule, then that would say you can record at the table, because the Sunshine Act.
So Dawn has proposed to remove that in its entirety for the next meeting with the parenthetical phrases about the Sunshine Act.
Because of removing, not having it placed at the Borough Council table.
Right.
Well, then we aren't ready to vote on this. We can't vote on this tonight if you're suggesting the removal of that section. Is that right?
I would think if you're doing this, code of conduct revisions, like Pat says, I'd go along to say that, why do you need the second one then? Because if TV camera comes in, if I say you got to go back there, they're probably going to listen to me and put it back there.
Mm-hmm.
And people are sitting there now with phones, and some of them may be recording and audio or video, and we don't know it, and they're allowed to do it because they're behind the rail, according to this thing. The only issue was Mr. Curry's phone. So if Dawn is basically lifting that onto the code of conduct policy, taking that out, that's why I'm saying you really need the Sunshine Act policy then.
Well, she's just suggesting it. We haven't.
Right.
Then this feels like it should be tabled until we tidy up the code of conduct.
Yeah, only because, in my opinion, because it says any person on that second, under that Sunshine Act language.
Mhm.
That's what I would say.
Okay. All right.
You agree?
Yep. You need a motion to table it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as far as the word any language, that it doesn't quite.
Well, wasn't
It was motioned and
it's
seconded.
seconded, so
Okay.
it's gotta go through the process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Aye. All right. Then we need a motion to table this.
I make a motion that we table.
No, you already
Well,
shot down, you just
No,
put on.
because I don't
You just
think
put
we
something
want this
new
in
on
that
it.
form, so we're not
Yeah.
tabling, we're looking for some new
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
direction to craft a new, to remove any person and just make it all public?
Well, I think, yeah, they have to be, figure out, what intent are you aiming at?
Yeah.
If it's narrower than anybody, and then also, is it so narrow that you don't need it, I guess is the question.
But would we benefit from tidying up the code of conduct because they're related?
Yeah, so they're kind of two different tracks and in my mind, have to be. Any reasonable Sunshine Act restrictions, the way you're trying to put these two, it would have to apply to everybody. Okay. The code of conduct obviously can only apply to the elected and appointed officials. You can't impose a code of conduct on the others. If you had a code of conduct that just simply said, and had no Sunshine Act rules, you cannot record anybody sitting at this table. It would open up the, possibility of a challenge under the Sunshine Act about, does that apply to public officials also? And therefore, you're violating the Sunshine Act by not letting somebody in this room record.
Okay.
So I think what we want to say here is, the two documents that were presented to council tonight, the code of conduct and the recording policy, did kind of tie together, and they are, if they were approved as is, legal. When you start removing
Yes.
things,
Yeah.
you run into a problem that they have to work together, correct? Or get rid of the one and keep the other.
So
for now,
I was going to say, from a legal standpoint, I believe you could have adopted either one exactly as they are, and they'd both be legally fine.
Yes.
If you would have adopted the code of conduct without that parenthetical,
Right.
I think
Wouldn't-
arguably you're stepping over a line. So, if you are trying to regulate the cell phones at the table, you would need.
So what I'm at
Recording
right now is
policy.
just trying to figure out, I think for you and I, Jim, if the revisions, the edits are sent around as Dawn proposed, and we're to bring this back next meeting, we need direction then if that parenthetical comes out of the code of conduct. What are we doing with the Sunshine Act policy, the second policy?
in which case, we are finished with this right now because we voted it down as it is.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Madam Chair,
Agenda item,
can I just say one thing? Yeah. So, just to clean all this up and come up to the surface, I just want to point out that the revision that we're now apparently going to discuss for the umpteenth time at the next meeting, I just want to ask, if we do what Dawn just said, why do you need this? So recess a public meeting. If conduct and order becomes such that order can't be maintained, you can recess it. You could do that now. Hey, do I have a
well, I
motion?
think that's why we're going to go back through it again, right?
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, you don't need this to do that. If you wanted to right now, if people start jumping up and down doing jumping jacks and we lose order, you could say, she could say, I motion to recess the meeting. Second, done, boom, it's over. So that, the point that Dawn wants that in there, you don't even need it in there to do it. Number two, the attorney-client relationship. I have said that I believe that's a personal attack on me. Dawn has brought up that she believes it was not right that people in the past who had used a prior solicitor had to recuse themselves. People live life. I do things outside of the borough in my life. People have children in their life. Sometimes a conflict of interest is going to come up. Jenny Miller's son is on the police department. I can show you the recusal forms that she has done over the years if she's on borough council hiring someone to oversee her son or give him a raise. She's recused herself. That's the right thing for her to do because she had a conflict of interest.
Right.
If I have an attorney-client relationship with someone because I've trusted them for a decade and something comes up, which I think we could all agree the situation that she was referring to was very rare in the borough of Middletown, that we were suing a solicitor for malpractice. This is a situation where if there was a conflict of interest, I would recuse myself as a gentleman, just as Mrs. Miller does when it comes to her son on the police department. So that point doesn't need to be in there. The third section about chain of command and hierarchy, I mean, we're going on 4 months into this administration. I don't really see an issue there. The legal advice, who's been reaching out to Mr. Diamond other than you guys? I haven't been reaching out to him. I did one time this year because, and I can't get into it, but there was an executive session topic, and out on the street, I learned a piece of information that was crucial for him to know in the moment, and I called and told him. It was a 5-minute phone call. So to say that I have to email you people or Ken, it's just like, it feels like babysitting. All these things do not need to be in here, and we could function just fine without this document.
Okay, well, we'll be revisiting it. And let's move on. Agenda item number 7.
Do I have a motion to accept the resignations from the Middletown Borough Police Department of Anthony Stoya, effective March 24th, 2026, and Owen Bender, effective March 31st, 2026, and to direct the Director Wright to send the proper notifications to these officers about their obligation to repay their academy fees.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 8.
Do I have a motion to approve Keystone Collections as the collector of delinquent taxes for printing and mailing of tax bills in 2026?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 9.
Do I have a motion to approve the retainer agreement number R000516.0532 with HRG in the amount of $46,000 for the engineering, bidding, and construction phases of the Waterfront Trail project along Susquehanna Street, contingent upon receipt of the grant agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 10.
Okay. One of the first, well, it's not in my manager's report, but maybe I'll just give you a heads up, and I don't know if Angie, if you want to save it when we get to council, the issue of the fireworks. Do you want to talk about that, or should I talk about that now?
Sure.
Okay. We just
Ken, did you, when you get to the point, are you going to ask for a motion to change the agenda if you're looking for an approval or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I have a thing here.
Okay.
We received a quote from Sky Shooter Fireworks for an amount of $13,000, which is about, I think, 200 under the threshold where we wouldn't have to go out and get other quotes. I think we reported previously that the group that did the fireworks last year raised their fee to over $15,000. So we have a quote now that's less, $2,000 less. It's under the purchasing threshold, but it does come as a time-sensitive commitment to put down to 50%. They're looking, because of the tariffs, they want us to commit to it by March 23rd. And so for that reason, I want to have a little discussion here before we move on with a motion and entertain any questions that you might have. I will say that the agreement that we have in the packet needs to be tweaked because the fellow forgot to remove the wording about the tariffs. So It's going to be 13,000 firm, with 50% down now and 50% when the show happens. It will be a September 5th event with a rain date of September 6th, and it'll be at the same place it was last year. So with that being said, I'd like to read a motion, and then what we would have to do is, first of all, a motion to amend the agenda to include the approval of the proposal from Sky Shooter Fireworks in the amount of $13,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
I have a question. How long is the display for? Did they give you any insight on that?
I don't.
I think he said like 20, 25 minutes, somewhere in there. I have to look at the email.
Did you compare this contract to Bixler?
I did not.
Do we know if the shells
It's
are
the,
equal?
yeah, it's comparable.
Was
I
it the
did.
same or comparable?
It's the same.
Same size, same number of shells.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes to amend the agenda.
And just as a reminder, the Grace, we need to then post within 24 hours that the agenda was amended on our website, and we should indicate the reason was because it was time sensitive, the proposed contract.
Okay, and then the motion that goes along with that is actually approving the proposal. And I said Sky Shooter Displays, but it's a long business name that includes Sky Shooter Displays. So, motion to award ZY Pyrotechnics LLC / DBA Sky Shooter Displays as the fireworks provider for the September 5th, 2026 display as proposed for $13,000 with a rain date of September 6th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Is
Hearing
there-
none, all in,
Is there a fundraising effort for these?
Yes.
And are we doing the car show at the same date?
Working on it. Is that an acceptable answer? Is it? That's a question.
I
I'm
don't answer
working
to
on
you.
it.
I asked a simple question, you gave an answer.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that answer is clear so it's not misconstrued that I said no or anything other than I am working on it.
Okay, the next item that,
hold, we needed to
sorry.
vote on it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ken.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, looking back at my report, let's look at item number 4 on my report since we've covered the first 3. You'll see that there's a special request application in your packet that was received from the Dauphin County Nerf Club for the use of the field along Mill Street between the entrance of Huffer Park and the bridge to Royalton from noon to 5 p.m. for the Saturdays of April 25th, May 30, June 27, July 25, August 29, September 26, and October 31, with rain dates on the following Sundays, as has been done in previous years. If there are no objections, I'd like to add that to our business meeting agenda for your vote of approval on April 7th.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, another one for requesting to add to the agenda. We have another special request. This one's from MABA. They're asking that Spruce Street to be closed between Hillside Road and Beechwood Drive for opening day of baseball on April 18th, 2026, with a rain date of April 19th, 2026, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll put that on the agenda of April 7th for a vote if no
Okay.
objections.
Sounds great.
The Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs requesting a voting delegate and an alternate to be approved for the purpose of electing officers of the association and voting on proposed resolutions and policies at the 2026 conference. Councilor Reed attended last year, and she's going to be attending this year. So we'd like to put that on the agenda to approve her as our voting delegate for that conference.
Okay.
Okay? Staff and HRG completed our required DCNR contract and regulatory requirement review with the DCNR project manager for the Phase 1 Spadina Crossings Park project. The next step is HRG is putting together a cost proposal for the design engineering services for us for consideration and a vote at our April 7th business meeting. No objections or questions? Okay. We issued a contract to HRG for composition and submission of a DCNR grant application for Phase 2. That's what our crossings plan. That application's due April 30th. HRG has estimated that second part of the project would be about $1.2 million. This grant, if awarded, would require a 50% matching funds or $600,000. Council's now we're at the point to determine how much and from where we'll draw funds for this match. If council determines that the match is too high, then we would have to look at removing some features from Phase 2, similar to what we did in Phase 1. Staff received permission from DCED, another state agency, to reallocate the remaining sum of $128,000 we received from a previous grant. And they're allowing us to use that money as part of the match towards this Phase 2 project. Thereby, it leaves a remaining amount of $472,000 that if the borough is going to fund the 50%, the balance of the 50% match, we would have to determine where we're going to draw that money from.
Okay.
So this may require additional discussion in executive session, depending on some of our other contractual things. So for now, I wanted to put it out there, and I think we should come to some agreement at some point, either recess now and go into executive session, come back out and vote, or if not, we're going to have to ratify your decision April 7th because well, we may not, but I know that the engineer's going to want to know that number because he's starting to put together the grant application now. We've already awarded him that contract to start putting together. So any day he's going to call and say, okay, what are the numbers? So.
What are you asking? If you want to recess and talk about this, or
We can, if you'd like to, or if you just want to say, look, it's too much. I mean, I'm looking for comments. They're going to be looking for an answer from me.
I'd like to recess because it sounds like if we go back to executive session afterwards and then they don't get our answer until April 7th, that's a little tight for the deadline.
Yeah, you're coming up upon it, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I can finish out the rest of my report before we recess if you'd like. I don't have it written on, but your report in your packet, but another thing came up recently that's an easy fix, but Angie, now that she's no longer on council and she's the mayor, we're going to have to replace her on the police pension board. I got a request from the police department to have an annual pension board meeting, and I think we should discuss who would like to be that person to serve on that pension board.
I'll do it.
Okay? And then we'll send out ever since COVID, they've been happening by Teams meetings. They used to do them in person, but they're all Teams meetings now. So if council is in agreement, we should take a motion and a second to appoint Mr. Curry to the police pension board. Anybody have any other comments or questions, or should I read a motion?
We would have to amend the.
Yeah, we should amend the agenda.
Can it wait until our next meeting to put it?
You know what? It could. Thanks for bringing that. That one can wait. We can put that one on the agenda. Yes,
Okay.
good. Let's do that.
Okay, great.
Ever since my fall, though.
Did you hit your head?
And do we need a motion to recess?
So moved. I'll make a motion that we recess for about 15 minutes,
Oh,
if that.
If it goes over 15,
Is
somebody
there a
knock on the
second?
door.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
We shall
Yeah.
return.
Why did we do this in the executive session at the end? Why can't we vote on it at the end? Come back out after that executive session. Okay, this is still recording too. I can't shut it off yet.
light conversation.
All right.
Light conversation. Like, wow, you really don't want to hang out with people too much. Discerning coffee. Don't worry about that. Beer distributor in Philadelphia, eBay. I don't know, about $5,000 worth of charges. Can I file a report with whatever for that? Whatever.
my God,
Oh
he's
my
so
gosh,
cute.
you're so big.
He's really big.
He ate tofu today, and apparently he loves tofu.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's nasty.
No.
That stuff has no flavor.
I know. No sweet potatoes.
And sweet potatoes? Oh, I don't like sweet potatoes.
You should have recorded it.
Yeah, I know. Hope this sounds all right.
I don't like yams.
All right.
I don't like sweet.
We are going to report on this executive session now. Yeah, hold everybody back in order. We'd like to report on the executive session that just ended. We had a discussion about a revenue account that was established as a result of a litigation win of the borough. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to amend the agenda in order to approve matching funds for Phase 2 of the Swire Crossings Park project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda amended.
And the second motion that's coming out of that executive session is as follows. Do I have a motion to approve the withdrawal, when required, of up to $472,000 from the revenue funds received out of litigation?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay,
Ken, does that complete
that
your
completes
report?
my report.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 11, codes. Thank you, Jason.
Good evening, everyone. I'm gonna just sort of skip to number 3. You can see the statistics that we have. UGI, I spoke with them after our last meeting. We're looking to have a spring meeting to do this town hall information. We don't know the settings just yet. I don't know the exact month, but they gave me spring as the season. So I'll keep in touch with you when that time comes. Number 4, FEMA has updated their flood insurance study maps, and the LOMARs and the LOMAs that some residents have been affected by these changes. So the codes department will do the proper appeals process for those residents, see what the outcomes are with those.
Do we know what area it is?
Yeah, I do. And if you would like to know, I can let you know.
I would.
When that time comes.
It's not in here.
And I'm not going to publicly share the addresses.
Because this is a really, in my opinion, a really bad move on the part of FEMA.
Yeah.
These are people they already approved with new elevations and floodplains, and now they're saying with their new map, they're all off the table.
They're all on what?
Yeah, you're going to have to appeal them to keep them back in.
Yeah. There's about 6 properties.
Yeah.
Are they all in the first ward?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah, it's really bad for them to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's almost 20 years, 10 years, 15 years past due that they should have done it.
Yeah, some people spent a lot of money to get those LOMARs and those.
Looking at number 5, we are going to continue with the recommendation from council to discuss the short-term rental ordinances. Attached, you will see the ordinances that were drafted with Solicitor Diamond and I. If you had read through those all, that should give you various visuals and ideas of where we are going with that direction.
Yeah, I'd recommend that you move those forward or decide you're not doing something. I think these are, the package of those two, I think is a really good shape. And obviously, we'll go through the comment process, two planning commissions, come back here, there could be modifications, but I think we really have it in a pretty precise, if you're going to do it. If you're not going to do it, we shouldn't keep doing this. But I think that package of the short-term rental, the zoning, and the one thing, the suggestion would be, if you're comfortable with it, putting on the agenda for next time to advertise. But I think we'd also want, if you're happy with the overlay areas we talked about before, to direct HRG to create a nicer looking mock-up than our just hand raise for, the hearing. But, I think the wording of the document is ready to go, and we have the.
Jason, are you ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Ken, do we have a motion?
Yes, we are.
It just goes on the agenda for.
Yeah, you wouldn't need it, you just put it on the agenda.
We don't need to vote on it,
Oh,
right?
to move it?
We can
Okay.
go on to business.
I'm totally good with that. I'm ready to move
Yeah.
forward with this.
Okay. The next ordinance is the emergency egress ordinance, also attached. Recommendation is to review that and place that on the next agenda as well. That should be good to go.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing with this one. So it got held up because we were trying to do potentially something bigger with the MPC adoption, maybe to bring it to a newer code. But Jason's got to work through a bunch of the little recommendations for, moving from 2018 to 2021 if we do that. But this is a kind of standalone piece to be added on. And if anything, to the next version, we'd just probably be changing the number from 706 to 708 because there's a couple new ones in.
Okay.
But it's, if you recall, we talked about the details of this at length before. And this is kind of a safe harbor in that there aren't a lot of towns that have it, but Gettysburg passed this exact thing and it withstood a court challenge. So we feel pretty solid about this concept. And it's really, in my mind, it applies to very, very few places, but it requires emergency and escape and egress and rescue openings, for our basement bedrooms and things that, due to some flukes, didn't get picked up in the UCC, Uniform Construction Code, until later. In part, when it was supposed to come in, it was there looking like it was in for a couple of years. The statute that put that in there got shot down as unconstitutional for reasons unrelated to that, and therefore, the only way to get to it is through the IPMC, the Property Maintenance Code. You're allowed to add this, and we would recommend it because we ran into a situation Jason and I were aware of, and I think we reported it, but it seemed like there was a potentially dangerous situation with perfectly lawful setup.
All right, so that will be on April 7th. Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay. Are you going to be doing like home inspections to find the potential?
Yeah, so on the very back, you will see a rental inspection program for 2026, and we would use Commonwealth codes to do the rental inspections for those properties.
But what if it's not a rental?
So I think he's talking about the short-term rental.
Oh, you're talking about
You're
the
talking about
I'm
the
talking
emergency.
about the.
Okay.
Oh no, I knew how you were finding that.
Yeah.
I meant the.
So that then goes into if we work short-term rentals, if that's the case, but also as we revisit the long-term rental attached, then that would also be part
So
of the
these are only this is only applies for rental, like the non-emergency.
Correct. We wouldn't go to personal homes of homeowners.
Yeah, I was
It's
going to
for
say
rent.
Not that I have one.
Right.
I'm just.
But landlords renting out to somebody, other family, keeping them in an unsafe situation where a homeowner is doing their own family. And
Well, I was going to say, these are generally complaint-driven, not, something you're out looking for. And it came up as a complaint.
Yeah.
And then, it turned out it was a bigger issue than we would have thought in a newer setup than we would have thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. And then C is the council recommendation for us to revisit the long-term rental ordinance. This was discussed back in 2024. I attached the ordinance for you to review. We're basically close to getting this ready to pass if council wants to continue to do so. But it's all up to council on the direction that we want to
So
go.
Jason, adopting the long-term rental then would prompt a next discussion on the mechanics of it, the fees, the inspection schedules, and, okay.
Yeah.
So we
we're-
don't have to have every
No,
I
the
dotted and
next
T
thing
crossed.
can be all the fees, licensing, costs, based off a fee schedule set
Okay.
by we have a 24 fee schedule. We can do some updates to that whole fee schedule and include the rental costs and all that.
If I could just interject one thing, this is back to the emergency. I just want to be clear that the actual rule, that IPMC rule, is not limited to rentals.
Oh,
It
It's
generally
not.
comes up.
but it only comes as a complaint. If somebody
it
wants
only
to.
comes as a complaint normally.
A homeowner's not gonna be laying on themselves, so.
Jason, I was looking at this over the last year, kind of off and on, and initial thought is, well, it seems like kind of a good thing. We're looking out for the well-being of a highly rental-based borough or town. It seems like a lot as far as I'm thinking of the borough and doing this effectively. Like, do we have the capacity to do it well?
When I was tasked to start this, that was my whole goal. If we're going to do this, it's going to stay and it's going to be done well. And that was my whole intent through this. And this is why we're going to have a third party doing all the inspections. They're going to go through it. Initially, it's going to be a floodgate, so we're going to have to get one section at a time, one area at a time, one phase at a time. We have, from what I'm aware of, just over 2,500 rental inspections. I'm thinking there's a lot more than that, but what I'm aware of is 2,500.
Okay.
So this is going to take some time. It's not going to be done in 1 year, but we're going to give, I believe it was a 4-year period. If everyone passed, they don't have to get an inspection for another 4 years unless a complaint was made, then it restarts the clock again. If they pass that complaint, then they can move on for another 4 years. So that helps us then get all the properties, and it's an incentive for the landlords to have a well-established property for their tenants.
Jason, this requires an annual budget, correct?
It would require an annual budget, but we're hoping that the fees cover the budget.
And we all know that some people just don't pay, but we're going to have to front the cost to the third party for inspections. And if the landlords don't pay, we're going to be sitting on that, correct?
They would go to court for not paying for the...
Which is cost as well.
Well, I was going to say.
So that's what I'm saying, we need a budget, right?
Well,
Do we have one?
So one of the things you theoretically try to do in these is scale the license fees to cover the system.
Okay.
So you could set them up that you're charging per inspection and then chasing the fees, but normally what you would try to do is scale, and it takes a lot of projections. You have this X number of people in, you have to do this many inspections every 4 years, and you would have, a target of, this is what it's going to cost, and then a license fee from a municipality should not be there to make money.
Right.
I mean, you should have enough cushion that, for the ups and downs of, but, you try to make, or you could always charge less, but, it's not inappropriate if there's a regulated industry to have that industry pay its own way, if you will. There's always some startup costs that may end up, just general costs, but that's the theory. You can't do more than that because it can't be a phony tax kind of thing, a legal tax. But in theory, you can scale it appropriately to cover the cost of that system, and that's pretty common approach in licensing and including these kinds of licenses. And if you're doing it that way, you could do it so you're building in the normal inspection cost, as opposed to every 4 years you have a big outlay because you got to pay for that inspection, and then don't pay anything for 3 years and then another. So there are different ways you can handle it. And then if there are infractions, then you are in the world of fines and going to Judge Judy and, you know, trying to collect the fines. And
Madam President, may I ask you?
Yes.
Jason, you said in your summation there that if there's a violation and then they passed and they're good for, can you just, for the public's benefit, what type of violation, can you give them an example of what you would be talking about, a Cliff Notes version?
Right. Tenant comes with a complaint. Let's start with that. They say they're getting mold from a leak in the bedroom. That initiates the complaint to do the rental inspection. Do they have everything covered? So we're going to have a checklist through basically IPMC checks of what's all being done while specifically looking at the complaint base as well. If there's a leak forming, then they will be given a notice to fix that leak X amount of days to do so, remediate any potential mold that might be in there, and make sure they're whole again.
All right, one follow-up. What if a person made that complaint to you now?
Right now, it would be same thing. But I'm not looking at the whole unit. I'm looking at basically the complaint.
So if someone came to you now and said, hey, I live here, there's a leak in my bedroom, I think mold is forming, this is my landlord, they give you the complaint, you're going to investigate that issue, and it would be addressed. So this rental inspection program, it gives you the ability to go in on an issue and see multiple issues.
And without complaint.
I'm just saying I don't like this. I haven't liked it since it got brought up. To me, it feels like big government. If there's someone that has an issue and it's already being addressed through Jason, I'm not sure.
Well, we'll be bringing that back onto the agenda.
Let me give a scenario without a complaint.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. Until a complaint was made, we had people in a basement area without extra egress, and they potentially were in a unsafe situation where a fire could occur. So there's a huge life situation where if we are in there checking to make sure all homes are safe for those purposes, we would likely have less complaints.
Who would oversee this? Would it be you? Would it require more staff?
Not from us that I can see at this point. Because we're third party doing the rental inspections.
Okay. Jason, any more in your report?
Yes. The sheds on the Susquehanna Street MABA has complied with everything. So we are just waiting for the Middletown Youth Club situation with the solicitor.
Is there an update that could be discussed here?
No,
I'm asking, do we have to discuss it in there, or do you have an update?
No,
at
I
all?
don't have an update at all.
Okay. I mean, it's not on Jason, because Jason takes direction from here. I am done with the youth club and these sheds. I'm done. I think we should just remove them. If I want to make a motion to do that.
Put it on the agenda for
Yeah,
next.
I'm going to make a motion that we put removal of the sheds on the next meeting agenda.
Middletown Youth Club shed.
Yes, thank you, Middletown Youth Club.
Second. Yeah, when was this brought up?
Like a long time ago.
2 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, come on. At this point, what are we doing?
So we have a motion. And a
So,
second.
you know, we're saying motion,
I
it's
know.
really, is there consensus to put it on the agenda? for the
Yeah,
next
we don't have
meeting?
to.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
there's a
I'm trying to be
consensus.
formal
Yeah.
about it because I'm tired of playing
Yes,
the game.
I was gonna say, you don't need to amend the agenda for this kind of procedural housekeeping.
Okay.
It's really but it's a mechanism to,
Yes.
do you have a consensus to put something on the?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. It's on.
Great.
Thank you, Jason.
Any, if there's no other questions, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jason.
Agenda item number 12, electric report. Hi, Rob.
Good evening. Continuing out at Woodland, as well as on our pole replacements. A couple smaller projects we're doing, adding additional outlets to Pavilion 1 for the craft fair. Replaced underground streetlight conduit at Spruce and Oak Hill Drive, and adding outlets and lights to the Woody Waste Bays. Number 17, GDS Associates visited several locations in Middletown to review their potential for the behind-the-meter generation source and to better assist with the development of the RFP. The target release date for that is sometime around May. 18 banners and lower arms were removed to allow for pole painting, which is expected to begin at the end of March and completed by the end of April. Again, that's weather permitting, though. Spruce Street update. Ashland Engineering is continuing to work on the SCADA system, awaiting completion of the SCADA, closeout procedures, and submission of all pertaining documents before the release of the remaining retainage. No outages since last report, and no action items.
Okay.
Any questions?
I have a question, and maybe it's more geared to Ken, but where are we at with that light by the high school that is planning on going by the high school at some point?
The red
You
light.
need a traffic light?
Yeah, traffic light. Where are we at? I know we talked about it in the last few months.
Yeah, the developer did a traffic study, and the light didn't meet warrants. The school district has had requested a meeting with us, and we probably will be talking about the contractual obligations in executive session today. But the school district is contending that the data that was in that report was data from 2023, which is legally allowed by PennDOT up to 3 years. The data can be 3 years old, but they're making the claim that we should revisit that because of the Woodland Hills construction has
Definitely.
progressed since 2023. So
A couple of the administrators grabbed me when at a public event and just expressed, and I didn't know where we were at with any of that, nor did I know if it was on our shoulders. But there's been numerous accidents there at that intersection.
which I was unaware of until yesterday.
Yeah, like a lot.
So we can discuss further the, what's in the contract and agreement and whether or not we have, I'm gonna need Jim's help with that.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Glad I brought it up.
Good.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Agenda item number 13, emergency management report. Hey, Tom.
Okay, my report. I spent 76 hours in the office this past month. I updated material for the county and our procedures and everything. Received all my emails and answered those. Working with Crane Clean Plan with the county, and PEMA. Crane Clean would like to come to the borough with the county and give you an update on what's going on. So if you're interested, I need a time, couple times. I can get with the county, and the county will come down and present a program, what's going on down there, and give you updates. They're going all over the lower end and doing that, so.
Okay.
So let Ken know, or. what you
They're
come up with.
offering it. I guess it has to do with, I didn't read it in detail, it just
Yeah,
came
we
today.
just got it today.
But I think it looks like they're making an offer, hey, if you want us to come down and explain more what's going to be required of you, we're willing to do that. And you can, invite your council people to be there. So I don't think it's something that we would, I don't know, you'll have to ask them, is that something they would present at a council meeting or something that would be done like
Yeah, I can ask
offline?
them how long the speech is.
Yeah.
And then we can go from there. I'll let
Yeah.
Ken know tomorrow. We'll go from tomorrow and see how long it is to present at a council meeting.
Yeah, because I don't know how much they get into.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Any questions?
Thanks, Tom.
Are you gonna do an exercise, an emergency exercise this summer?
We don't know yet. Pima's dragging her feet on a lot of stuff. County's waiting for that, and we're waiting for that, so we're not sure. Could be September, we're not sure yet.
Okay.
We're waiting on Pima. They're dragging their feet, so. Okay?
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Agenda item number 14, finance.
Hi, good
Hi,
evening,
Sydney.
everybody. Just one informational item on my report. We received a resignation from our part-time clerk 1 position effective this Friday, March 20th. So we are currently in the process of hiring a replacement for that position. And that is all I have for you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have a question. On the mayor's Christmas ornament account, I think that money is to be used for the wraps.
Yes.
Has that invoice not been cut yet, or?
I haven't seen the invoice come through yet.
No, okay.
It'll be in the process this week.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Thank you, Sydney.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 15, fire department.
I know Jim was up last week or last month. Advised you guys that we received a state fire commissioner's grant in the amount of $16,000. Since then, we have secured 2 other grants. One was through Constellation, also known as Crane Clean Tech Energy. That was for the replacement of our emergency generator that has catastrophic failure. We received $25,000, and the new generator has been ordered for the install. Also through DCED, we needed to replace our portables. Our portables are from 2004. The models that we have are no longer serviceable. So we have some riding positions that don't have radios and/or as soon as you turn them on, they go into a fault mode. But as Director Wright can probably tell you, the radios aren't cheap. So 36 radios, we were able to receive a grant for $250,000 for the radios. We will be ordering them here within the next couple weeks. Moving on, the elephant in the room that we've been talking about for a few years now. Seems like just as we got one paid off, but it's time to replace the rescue truck. Rescue truck is at its life expectancy as of next year. I told you guys we would work forward on getting the pricing ahead of time, as it is a contractual 1,600 days until we would receive the vehicle. That is 4.3 years. So we will be over the time frame of that vehicle's 20-year service life next year. We will be 3 years past that by the time the vehicle arrives. The grand total amount for the vehicle, and I don't know how we got to do this, so that's why I'm bringing it up tonight so we can figure it out. When I call Seagrave and I say, okay, we're ready to place the bid or the order for this 200-page spec for this fire truck, they give me a paper. That quote, if you will, is good for 30 days. I know that's going to take some time. The only reason I'm bringing this up tonight, I asked them to give me a price to come to you with.
They said, well, I said, no, not the 30-day price. I need just what it's going to be right now. I don't want to tie up the 30-day contractual agreement. When I asked that in December of 25, it was 1.2 million. When I asked that last week, it is now 1.5 million. Currently, there is roughly 836,000 in the fire apparatus sinking fund, and that does not include the audit for 2025 with the surplus from that. At 4 years out, I believe it would behoove us if we gave them the 800,000 up front. That's going to knock off nearly $90,000 as a discount on the new piece of apparatus. So, questions or to the guidance of what to do next on how to do. I don't want to tie up the 30 days because I know it's going to take 2 meetings. Am I correct? I don't know.
Yeah, no. We'd have to get a lease agreement with,
I did give the cover sheet with the numbers. Again, these are basically a verbal number until I would call Mr. Wanger, our salesperson, and say, okay, give me the paperwork that we actually need to sign. The goal would be to the sale of our rescue truck. When that time comes, don't worry. It's not going to tie you guys up. This one's in our name. I can sell this one. The sale of that rescue truck to offset any difference at the time when the new one's placed in service. If we have to take financing for the remaining 600 and some thousand when it's delivered, that would help offset that cost then. But I just need to know when you guys want me to move forward with getting the 30-day contract thing. But I don't want to wait too long because in 3 short months it went up $300,000. So I don't want to see that happen again.
Yeah, I know.
So what do we have to do?
We just put it on.
Put it on the
agenda.
What do we got to do?
Yeah.
You would have to authorize us to go out and get a quote from a leasing company like we did before.
Would we do that now or in
There we go.
4 years? I don't know.
But if you give them the money now, if we set it in place, you're getting a cheaper rate.
If we set it now and I give them
800.
800,000 as a down payment, they're going to take off $86,575 according to the verbal. That's what that says. Once I get that paper, it might be a couple dollars more, it might be a couple dollars less. Don't hold me on the discount. But
I don't think council can commit to just a down payment without committing to the whole thing. Jim, what you say?
Yeah, I think you need to know
Okay.
what you're in for. Are there tariffs in this?
I don't know.
So then we'll know what the monthly cost is going to be. Usually, these leasing agreements hang out there until you make the actual purchase. And then, I can't recall, it's been so many years since, we did this before, and I know there was a time delay till the pumper came.
Yeah. Well, that one wasn't nearly as
Not as long,
as
but it's still the
this.
same process, so
Yeah.
we have to have Sydney check our records there and how we did it last time, we'll follow the same procedure. But, council have to approve that intent, that they're going to release the $806,000 will be a motion as the down payment, and then they'll have a motion to enter into a lease agreement with who's ever gonna give us the best deal.
Okay.
And I think that's how we did it before. Then after we had the lease agreement, we started applying for gaming grant funds to try to pay down the, some of the,
Well,
annual
I was
payment.
able to do that after we got it. Once we signed and showed the actual debt, that I remember I had a year that we had to wait till it showed up and we physically had possession, and then I could do that. But that's what I was saying too. We're not going to know how much we're going to need to finance.
Yeah, I'm sure the leasing company probably won't hold their interest rate for 4 years. So,
And
yeah,
that's,
we're gonna
that's why I
have
was
to,
like,
we're gonna have to, you know, finance will have to talk to the leasing companies and find out how that would work.
okay.
But,
Is it something to get put on the agenda?
So you're
for
saying
April?
that they, you know, if you pay the down payment, they're gonna lock in the cost.
They would lock in the cost at that time, is what they're telling me. The only thing it says here is prepay proposal does not include cost of performance bond.
Well, the other question then is how much do they need down? You did it based on the 800, but would they build it based on 200 down and then we
Yeah.
allow our money to continue to earn interest?
Yeah, well, and that's it. They'll take whatever we want to give them as a down payment to start the build. It's only the amount of the discount that you're going to get in the end. Like
Does
you're
that
getting,
discount change with the down payment
yeah.
change?
because we gave a 51% advance by paying the 800,000. So basically, what they do is the less money they have to wrap up in the materials, the more discount you're going to get right off the bat.
And they're probably not gonna buy, do they buy those materials right away and wait 4 years?
Have no idea how that
So,
works, and that's
otherwise
a question that a
they're
few
investing our
lawmakers are
money for
asking.
4 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next step is to check with Sydney just to review the process from last time?
Yeah, I have to report back to you.
And we will put that on the agenda for next workshop?
I don't know if we're gonna have a lease agreement ready for the next agenda, but maybe the workshop.
Yeah, I
You know,
think,
he's only got a price that are holding for, what, 30 days?
Well, and that was, like I said, this is just a verbal / written.
ballpark.
I didn't get the 30-day one from him yet.
Gotcha.
But like I said, the math be math, and 1.2 to 1.5, it's gone up 100,000 each month. So that's why I'm just trying to. We got the spec finalized with our guys. It's exactly what they needed functional wise.
But you know, are you just doing math when you say it goes up each month, or is that just maybe an annual increase because of tariffs and stuff?
And that might be it too. When I asked, it was
Yeah.
1.2
You
in
went from
December.
December to now.
And now we're in March and it's 1.5. So I don't know. Maybe it's only going to be.
It might be the same
A
in
half-
60 days, yeah.
Yeah.
It might be, but we don't know. But maybe you can ask that question if they anticipate, because a lot of companies do that. It's like January is their time where they change their labor rates for building these things because of contracts and also material costs that go up.
Yeah,
But then they
and I
hold for a
can
while.
I can ask him that
Yeah.
to see about the time frame, but we are ready to move forward with the purchase of this vehicle. Well, at least get it under contract.
Okay.
when we put it on, when we come back at the next workshop with this, maybe you could tell us more about the rescue truck? I remember hearing with the last truck purchase, there's a number of factors that tell you it's time. I know years. Isn't it also hours of use and mileage?
And it's all it's
a calculated.
basically based off of the NFPA standard. The NFPA
Yeah.
standard is 10 to 20. We drag it to the 20. We're not as busy as your big cities or everything like that, where they're replacing rigs every 10 years. So it's not more or less the hours or the mileage. They have a lot more idle hours than they do mileage on them. But it's the fact of, you know, they're full of gaskets, they're full of plumbing pipes, and the Middletown water is 100% stellar, so we know that that doesn't cause any problems with the pipes in the pumps or anything like that. But, you know, we have gaskets fail, pumps need repacked, gaskets fail on there. So after the 20 years, you start to see them go downhill. And what we actually saw with the previous KME that was replaced back in 2021 is it pretty much seemed like every fire it went on, we were spending between $5,000 to $7,000 in maintenance afterwards because of a pump failure or some kind of failure. I don't want to get behind that curve. I'm going to be behind it already with a 4-year wait. So that's why we're moving forward with this now.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Agenda item number 16, highway report.
Good evening.
Evening.
A couple things gave you this evening regarding the basketball court. I did receive a contractor estimate for installing a half court. It was included in your packet there, I believe, at $42,000. That was for putting one up in the parking lot area. I was asked to look at the potential of putting one, and that's what I handed out this evening on the poorly colored picture. Sorry, the copier wasn't cooperating very well. I laid out not even a half court. It's pretty much just the key and a little bit farther than the key. There's
I have that.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's some guy wires there that we can't really relocate. They're supporting the 69,000 volt line there. And even this one, the smaller one, as it's laid out there, will require a little bit of retaining wall to make the grades work. We're cutting about 5 feet of grade elevation difference between the surface of the court and what's out there currently. So there would be some additional expense there if we go this route. Again, the quote from the contractor was to put it up on the nice already level area where the parking lot was. This area here will require some additional excavation and some additional costs.
With, can I ask?
Yes, ma'am.
With this drawing that you put here, that is very close to the outfield fence
Yes,
for the baseball field.
yes.
Okay. I don't like that. With a son that played baseball and anybody that is out in that outfield, if you do have people right in that area, I don't think that's feasible. And if a ball were to literally jump over the fence into the baseball field while somebody is playing baseball, not that it couldn't happen over here, but it's more than likely to happen if it's right up against that fence.
Madam President.
Yeah.
I'm confused because I thought at the last meeting there was like a bunch of pictures, and I know Dawn picked one, and we said we were going to get pricing for all these, and now we're only getting pricing on a half court in a parking lot and some option that we didn't even discuss at that meeting.
No, I can explain. So last Monday and Tuesday, when it was so nice out, I went down to Oak Hills to kind of see how it's used, how the kids use it, just see how it operates. And what I noticed was the grassy area between the pavilion and the street really isn't an open space. It's a play area. I saw football, tag. So it looks like it's as critical a play area as the play structure itself. I went down there just trying to sort through this basketball court issue, because if there was an obvious great location, in my opinion, we would have built it 2 years ago. The area by the MABA shed, even if the shed is moved, is very close to the backyards and decks of the neighbors on Oak Hill and Briarcliff. And as I understand, we've heard from 3 of those folks who don't want a basketball court in their backyard almost. So as I was standing there, I was watching the kids and they went down the slope towards the rain garden. And I thought, okay, there's a plot of grass back there. And that's why I just said to Matt, could you sketch it and even see if it's viable? So it's not presented in the same way that the other 4 were, but I just wanted to see it, because in my mind, I'm having a hard time with the 4 locations or the 4 scenarios that we presented last time.
Right, but I thought at the meeting, like, I don't remember what option Dawn said, but I remember her speaking about it, and she said she wanted to see pricing for that option.
Right.
Full court.
So where is it?
Oh, you're saying because there's only pricing for one in here, that's what you're
There's
asking,
pricing
right?
for a half court
Half court at the.
at the parking lot, and then
Right.
a discussion about the swamp area. I don't understand why the ones that multiple people brought up at the last meeting, and we said we're gonna get pricing on that, they're not even on here.
I was understanding they were half courts only. I mean,
That's not, no.
No.
Okay, all right, that's my error then.
I think there
I
were
wanted to see the
specific
picture.
options there were pictures here, and there were two that were up by the pavilion area, there were two that were in the parking lot. Was there a fifth? I think it was those four. No, there was fifth, because there was
this way.
yeah, right, so two up by the pavilion, two in the parking lot this way, two perpendicular to that. I think it went up to option F or something, and I remember Don specifically saying something about a full court, and then the purpose was to move to this meeting to get pricing on every one of those options.
Every one of them.
Because there was a variety of opinions on this.
Well, to the contractor, it didn't matter where it went, his price was excavating a parking lot or the grass, so.
But that's for a half court.
Well, logically, I would double it.
Well, we can't just say logically double it, because I'm not operating on guesses.
Then we need the price on a full court to continue this conversation?
In both areas.
In the parking lot in the grass area. Okay.
Okay.
Shall I include replacement of the storm sewer?
Anything that's going to be affected, that's gonna add anything to it.
Okay. Are we assuming one of them was impacting the pavilion? Are we looking at that route? I have to, if it's coming out, I have to get pricing for that as well.
Whatever your drawing had that was at the
There were two up
grassy
there.
area.
I think there was one taking it out and one leaving it.
Okay.
I'd leave it. I'd leave
I
the
would leave
pavilion.
it. People use it.
Okay.
Yeah, people use that all the time.
And then the other one was the full court in the parking lot.
Yes.
Were you done? Okay. I'd like to add one thing to that, Madam Chair, if you can, because I don't think it's difficult to get a price. I'd like to know what the coated chain link fence price would be if you surrounded a court out by the pavilion with that product.
Okay.
And he can ask the fence company what height they recommend for something of that nature.
Okay, on this one, I assumed 4 feet high on two sides only, just to keep bouncing balls away from rolling into vehicles and so forth, but I will get a cost for that. I know down at Hoffer, I think it's a 10-foot fence. Okay,
So was the fence included in this estimate?
on two sides, 4 feet high.
Okay.
Because it doesn't.
I gave them a punch list of items to go with. This is just a rough quote, so I just gave them scenarios, gave them the rough square footage, gave them two sides of 4 foot high chain link fence to get some
Galvanized
numbers.
or coated?
I went galvanized.
Can we address that
Sure.
right now, please? The
add-
coated
to
is
add it-
cheaper, one, and two, that's the aesthetic. That's where you start to change the look of a town. Town colors, we didn't pick them, but they're green and gold. And so if you're going to put up a new fence, whether it be on that half court or a full court, it should be
Coated.
green coated chain link fence, because you get one opportunity to do it. Whatever you put in is probably gonna be there past all of our lifespan. So if we could just consider, please, for the aesthetic of the town, to grab that color for the theme of the town.
Is that okay, Matt? All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll reach out to the contractor, have them start working up the costs. I'll get a price from them to also replace the 48-inch storm sewer as
Where's
well.
Where's that at?
The storm sewer?
Yeah. Like, which one would that be affecting?
The one in the grass area. There's also a sanitary sewer line under that one as well. So there are two different utilities underneath that area. As part of for number 3 on my report, some signal timing changes are proposed as part of the school district project at North Union and Main Street. The east and west green time along Main Street will be substantially reduced outside of the 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. timing window. More time will be allocated for the movements on North Union Street. So folks will have to wait a little bit longer on Main Street as it will stand. Woody waste facilities open. Bins have been placed down there. Woody waste usage is enclosed in your information. I believe what was looking for was amount of uses and what percentages they were. As presented previously, 82% of the users were less than 10, 92 were less than 20.
When you say cards by municipality, that isn't, or you say trips by municipality, that isn't how many times Lower Swaterra Township came in. It's just how many of their residents made trips in, or how many trips a resident made.
Up in the top corner, Lower Swaterra came in 86 times for their public works people.
Okay, but
They're all just people from the township.
underneath, down
Yeah.
at the bottom, where it says 10 to 19 trips by municipality.
That's residents.
That's residents.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to repeat myself again because I always just wanted to state my opinion with this. I think it should be just for Middletown residents. Woody waste. Oh, yeah, that's it.
How much do we charge the other municipalities to get their cards?
$50.
And what do we charge our residents?
10.
And what do we charge Lower Swaterra Township for dumping?
We do not currently.
Why?
Just was set up that it was never taken care of that way.
Well, I think in the past when we were discussing this, while there wasn't a monetary benefit there was no monetary benefit by charging Lower Swaterra. Remind me the benefits of municipalities cooperating on
We get points for grants.
points,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I get that, but I'm looking at this going, Lower Swaterra used this more than our Middletown
we do,
residents
yeah.
did.
They do.
For
Almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Middletown has 448 cards.
They may have 448 cards, but use-wise, if you're looking at this,
29,941, is that what you're looking at?
yeah.
But it's 29 people did 10 to 19 trips, so you'd have to take 10 times 29 and say 290.
Right, but Lower Swaterra did 37.
Mm-hmm. So you would say 370 maybe.
Right.
Right, trips by maybe 150 people, right? Because some people could be multiple.
Right.
Right. So yeah, Lower Swaterra probably has some more because there's more trees on those residences than many in Middletown. Middletown, half Middletown's renters, and I'm sure there's not a whole lot of renters that are taking trees limbs out, would be my guess.
But we've instituted a new program this year. So wouldn't we collect data and see the difference between this and what we are attempting as sort of correction this year with this year's program?
The reason I brought it back up was council had received some concerns from residents that 10 was not enough trips.
Yeah. And I received another one over the weekend.
Yeah, we determined last year, going into budget season, that we're gonna set it at 10. And we'll
remember.
wait the whole year and see how it affects the volume out there that we're able to handle. And it was also like we can see how many complaints we get. And we've got a handful so far, maybe 6, 7, 8 people that say, I don't have a pickup truck, and I take a bag out every time I get it. And, we talked about that maybe, how would we do that? So I think it was like, let's see the trips, because I assumed that council was thinking they might say, okay, let's relent and go to 15 instead of 10, I thought that was the point, you wanted to see these because of that. So here you can see that 82% of all users are 10 trips or less. 92% of all users are 20 trips or less. So when you look at the high volumes, you'll find out that a number of them are landscapers.
Yeah.
I was contacted by another resident over the weekend. Same issue as the gentleman that wrote into us saying they don't have a truck. They have a big backyard that has a lot of trees, and they're making multiple trips out there. The question that was asked to me is, we do a fall leaf pickup. Could we possibly do a spring pickup? Not every week like we do with the leaves, but could we do one spring clean and pick up?
Pick up sticks and trunks?
Leaves.
Leaves?
You're just
Oh,
saying
left over
wood
from the
waste.
winter, like.
Yes.
We did see some of those people had them out, right, at the curb, and we got them with the street sweeper.
Yes, people are well trained, I think, for the fall, with the spring cleanup with a lot of, we're dealing with in our own parks, there's tons of twigs and everything else down all over the place. The leaf equipment does not fare well if there's sticks and so forth in there. We wouldn't be able to pick it up all that easily. In the fall, I think it's a little bit easier because you are just dealing with leaves in general. People do also put sticks out there, and we try to work around them, but
I think I'd like to have a discussion about increasing the number from 10 to something, rather than tasking the staff with a new spring pickup program.
Then
I'm
can
not-
we put that on the next workshop meeting? Because I'd really like to discuss it.
You mean the program that we set in place for this year?
Yep.
Well, we can do that.
One more statement for this. Matt, about a year ago, you came to us and you were expressing just that, we were really in kind of like equipment was breaking. It was very costly to fix. The mulch, we don't really have anything to do with it, so we have to pay people down to take the mulch. And there was big financial implications there, like how are we going to figure this out? And we're trying to be creative and move all these numbers around, and you're giving us data, and now the data says, wow, Lower Air actually, they use a lot. Like, why don't we just stop trying to figure this out in a complicated manner and just Middletown? Because in reality, we're just hurting our residents. Like, our tax money is paying so our residents' tax money is paying so Lower Air can use it, and then it's limiting our residents from trips.
I wonder if it isn't a little early to tell. And what I mean is, yes, we know there are some residents who are impacted if they don't have a trailer or a truck. But as I recall the discussion, the real impact is going to be limiting lawn services from dumping. That's where the volume comes in. And this program was meant to see if that is in fact the way to decrease the volume, by decreasing businesses from dumping.
correct. Yes, that was the overall goal.
In the meantime, what? Continue to spend all this money for what? I just don't know why there's such a passion to continue just to, let Lower severity use, why? Like, what's the big deal?
I don't think there's a passion for that. I think we're trying to explain that the bulk of your problem is people that take 50, 60 loads out in a year. And when you look up the addresses and find out who they are, a number of them are landscapers. So if we're spending money the taxpayer money to haul mulch away, pay to haul away. Why are we doing that for landscapers?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question.
I don't disagree with that, but I also, Lower Swatara Township is exponentially higher than us already.
And that wasn't a gift. This thing was set up through a grant process through DEP, who said, you're more than likely to get the grant to buy this grinder and to buy the pickup truck or the dump truck and all the other stuff and the land if you go in with multiple municipalities. That's how we got here. Now, it's been a number of years since we've been doing that. Maybe there aren't any ramifications now, maybe because of the life expectancy going on to kick people out, Royalton and Lower Swatara included. And if there aren't any ramifications, that's definitely an option for you to do that.
Yeah, DEP noted the only ramification would be they won't go backwards on any equipment or anything that we have.
Because we've had it long enough.
Correct. They would just move forward that, and they don't say what the bonus points are per se, but you're viewed more favorably if you're a multi-municipal entity.
So when the time comes to have to replace that tub grinder, or that inline grinder, and you're going on your own, you may not score the points you would with multiple communities to get money for a new grinder.
Correct.
Sorry.
Does the borough use the mulch that is?
We do not.
Is there a reason why?
Because it's horrible.
It's filled with weeds, and we have to end up spraying the mulch on almost a weekly basis to keep things from germinating, which I don't think the spray is good for our trees. I was informed, and I'm going to have further discussions with Ziegler. Ziegler said that they're going to cease taking our material for free at the end of June. So I need to find out what that means, follow up with them on that to find out what our ramifications are for that.
Dump it in the pool pit down there. Just saying. Fill in the pool.
Well, that's news.
So is there another option as far as in the future with you get rid of woody waste altogether and your next trash contract, put in a provision where people can put sticks in a brown bag to get picked up by the collector? Because that's what they do in the township now. Once a month, you can put that out. Now, that would eliminate people taking big limbs. You'd have to find some other place to go. But if we're convinced that's mostly township problem, and not a borough problem, that's something else to consider.
That would increase trash services.
Yeah, that price would go up, yeah.
I'm not interested in that.
Well, if we're going to bring it back up at the next workshop, and Matt, you were going to find out more about that June deadline? Or?
Yes, I'll reach out to Ziegler and find out. I'm imagining that there'll be a cost associated with it, so I'll find out from them if they know. They may not have formalized that on their end quite yet.
Okay. All right.
Is there any other information that would help council with this decision or options? Any other information that may be of use?
As Ziegler said, whether they're going to completely stop taking, they're selling for a data center, the big part of their land. I don't know if it's all of it, but.
Ernie was a little vague. He said, we'll stop taking it for free, and after that, it's a case-by-case basis.
Do we have a budget line in your budget for woody waste? Is there? When you bring, can you bring that information as well? When you?
Sure. For what is in there for 2026?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I think there's 4 different budget items for the trash and refuse, which woody waste is under.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Number 6 on here is part of the Emo Streetscape project. That can be a tongue twister. HRG is asking if The borough wants to keep the existing grass strips along West Emall Street. At the end, there's a couple grass strips on this side between the curb and the sidewalk, and there are one or two on the north side. And they've asked us, everything down in this portion, this block of Emall Street, the concrete is from the building to the face of the curb. Down here there are, and the grass strips are varying sizes, they're not consistent along there.
Do you have a recommendation?
I think removing them would look much better. I think taking them out and removing them would look, it would be consistent with this particular block.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's all part of the streetscape project
No
itself.
additional.
At this point, I don't believe so.
We would have to decide, because we own one of the properties, the park right over here. Has a
Mhm.
strip of grass on Emall
Yes.
Street. So
Mm.
if we're okay with taking ours out and you think it would look better, we then would have to approach like the Carnes people. They have a strip down at the commissary. The neighbor beside our little park here has a strip of grass.
Yeah.
And then across the street, I think there's two properties.
I believe there's two on the north.
Yeah.
So that's what would be required if we move forward with just cleaning up the street by removing the,
So my thought, if we wanted to do that, I said to Matt, maybe we should knock on these doors of the people that own these properties and see if we get if they're okay with us taking it out. They might be, because it's a little strip they don't have to go out and cut.
Oh,
And we would
okay.
lack-
Especially Carnes, that's the only
But
grass
now,
they have.
yeah, but here's the only, I said to Matt, the only fly in the ointment was when we get past this, I think it's her name's Solomon here, we get past her property to the next property. There's a gas meter out front in that grass strip that's hidden by a bush.
Mm.
So I'm thinking, I said to Matt, might want to keep that gas meter hidden in that bush. So
Mm.
there would be an exception if we were to do that.
Mm-hmm.
A gas meter or a gas loop, something that the UGI put in on their main for pressure.
Well, if we think there's no time, there's no rush to this decision, so we have time just to reach out to the neighbors?
Yeah, I think HRG I would believe we
Okay.
have a few weeks to decide on it.
Okay.
If they're just looking for guidance. I didn't know if council had any thought one way or another, but yeah, I can reach out. We can draft up something we can give to the residents.
Or are we going to knocking on doors first and then draft something
Okay.
out?
Right.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome. Final thing that had been requested for me was potential speed table layouts. I threw a couple different ones in there. This would be for Roosevelt and Oak Hill Drive between Spruce Street and North Union Street. I drew it with two within each block. Doesn't have to be two within each block. Two will do the best to slow traffic down. They're not necessarily spaced evenly because I needed to stay away from driveways and other things like that. So did kind of put them where it wasn't going to affect anyone's driveway pulling out.
So how many residents have we heard from that are concerned?
4.
Mhm.
I've heard from 4
On these two streets?
on each. So 8, 4 on each street.
Mm-hmm. I asked because I live on Spring Street and there are two speed humps, tape, and it's a mixed blessing in the neighborhood. You gotta really love them.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's a lot. Those speed bumps are real close on Oak Hill Drive, and I don't think the speeding's that bad. I mean, it is at that stop sign area when school's in session, but I don't know. I don't think it's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're awfully close, and it's a small area.
So you have 2 in each of 4 blocks, the way it looks there, Matt. Is that what you would recommend, or would you recommend 1 in each of those 4 blocks?
It's recommended they're only placed a few hundred feet apart to achieve a consistent reduction
down.
in the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's one, they'll speed up, slow down at that one, and then speed up again. But if there's multiples, it's very consistent.
And Dawn, you're saying you've heard from 8 people? Anyone else? You live there? No?
Not on my, no, not where, on my area, no.
You don't talk to your neighbors either.
I what? Actually, that's not even close to being true.
I have no comment on it.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like I haven't had enough. I don't. I know
Yeah.
you're saying there's been some people, but I mean, this just seems like a lot. Is it?
I think 2 in each one is an overkill for me.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I can't say I've spent sufficient time out there to note
Yeah.
whether there's a speeding concern or not. But the guidance is they should be within a few hundred feet of each other to achieve the maximum effectiveness.
Yeah. We're going to do it. That's the proper way. You're saying.
It's the recommended way to achieve the desired result, yes.
Okay, I got you.
Councilor Curry?
I think I could find 8 people on every street in this town that would tell you they're speeding. So it's like,
We
Are we
should just
gonna
put them on
do-
every
yeah.
street in
Not
town
wrong.
at this point.
I do. I mean, I can tell you names that have complained about the same thing for years. I mean, are you going to put them on
Yeah.
Spring Street? I get, because that is a long straightaway. So as much as I avoid it now, I used to come in that way. I don't now. But you could find people on every street in town that will tell you to do that.
I just brought it up because a resident asked me to bring it up.
I fully understand.
Yeah.
But I think you're on a slippery slope. And cost.
Yeah.
And it's not very good for aesthetics either. I don't think the speeding problem is, do you get some people, and I mean, I live on High and Spring. Have I seen people zipping? Yeah, but that's every town, everywhere. You can always find an outlier that will speed excessively. I don't think the speeding is to the point where this is warranted on all these streets. In fact, what I would do, I mean, when I was the mayor all those years, I'll tell you that those digital signs, I think those work wonderfully. We used to use the big, huge portable ones. Then they got the ones that you put on the actual posts. Every one of you, I'm sure, when you come into town goes, oh,
yeah.
you look and you catch yourself. So I think that I'd rather invest in something like that than messing up the aesthetic of the town and having everyone complain about.
Yeah.
What,
Mm-hmm.
when you plow, how does that work with speed bumps? Is there, I mean, you just have to be careful going over them, or?
We have to slow down a good bit and kind of crawl over it. Yes.
I mean, I know there's been issues at that stop sign there. We've had issues with people not stopping and running the stop sign, which we've had the police out and they've watched that. We've had complaints with that, but I mean, speeding it's normal.
The new normal, yeah.
Yes, I mean, not any more heightened or more or less.
Dan, how many digital signs, speed signs do we have?
4.
We have 4. They're on Union, Spring,
And Maine.
Maine,
And Vine.
and Vine. The Maine aren't.
remind me, because my memory, can I ask, what's the update from the legislature on radar?
Dead in water. I mean, every couple of years you hear a resurgence of potential of allowing it.
Yeah.
Their general consensus is they don't want to get stopped. They're concerned of it being a revenue generator as opposed to a public safety issue.
I think we should write a letter to our state rep from this body that says, introduce it again. That's
That's been an issue for a long time. When radar wouldn't work on these blocks, then we have trouble with enforcement.
Do you mind handing? Yeah, thank
Because
you.
we're required to use antiquated devices for speed timing. And things like coming into town from Londonderry onto Maine, piece of cake. We stop people there all day long.
Mm-hmm.
But on shortcuts from Vine to Maine, using Roosevelt, it's tough to do speed timing in an area such as that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where radar would be beneficial to local law enforcement to address public safety issues. Are there fears of revenue generation a reality? I'm sure it may happen in some municipalities across the country. But that's not how we would
That's
use
not,
it.
no.
And that's not, I'm sure, how council would want us to use it.
No.
But I've been on this job a long time, and radar has been on the horizon the entire time I've been on the job.
Well, on the topic of speeding, I was again contacted by a resident who was going to come tonight, couldn't, but just wanted to start a conversation of what he believes is just speeding all over town. People are in a hurry. So if we think this is, if you tell us, yes, this is something our officers are seeing, is it time to have more of a conversation, a way to address it?
There's, if any complaints come in, have them forward them to me. We still have the portable speed trailer that we put up in locations. Now that it stopped snowing, we'll put it out in locations where there are complaints. Some of it's perception, narrow streets, accelerating between stop signs. Are they reaching low 30s? Yeah. Is that speeding? Absolutely. Is it something we can enforce with the devices we use? No. So the speed timing, the speed trailer will work. The one thing I will say about the humps, Roosevelt's a shortcut. So they may be effective on the shortcuts more so than they would be on every block. I agree. Everybody complains of speeding and stop sign issues throughout the town and throughout the state and throughout the country. But if you can identify a shortcut that it may actually be beneficial, and I'm sorry you live on Spring Street, but those actually did work.
Yeah, they work. I know.
For that issue. So I'm not saying these reach that criteria of being that shortcut. No, I think we should really put them there. But I think that should be part of the decision when it comes to putting these in or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, a letter would be helpful to our representative. But some have publicly stated they don't want to get stopped. They think it would be a revenue issue.
Okay.
It would be used improperly.
Is that something that staff could generate and move forward on? If you're suggesting that would be helpful.
I think anything.
Yeah.
Radar would be
A
a
multi-pronged
useful tool for us,
approach, yeah.
Specifically for public safety issues, and we could use it to address some of these complaint issues.
Do you think more digital signs are?
I think they could help, but I also think the one on Spring Street we could probably take down because of those homes.
Okay.
But the ones that are the other three, again, I drive down Vine Street and the 3 cars in front of me slow me down on my way to work because they're going. I'm kidding, because they're going the speed limit because they hit the signs. I see it every morning. On my way in, so they are effective, and they're not that expensive.
So could we move the one from Spring to Roosevelt to just see if it
what
helps?
happens. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, this may not be the last time we talk about this, but
I'm sure.
those are some steps to take.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be.
That's great. Thank you both.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, excuse me, I have a question for
Yes.
Matt. I'm sorry, I have a question. Number 8. 2 sliding boards have been ordered. Where is that? For where?
What we call Pike Street, and I think the other one was Colston.
Okay.
I can verify that and let you know for sure.
Anything else for Matt? Thank you, Matt.
You're very welcome.
17, Mara?
No meeting scheduled till May, but there are 5 interviews tomorrow afternoon. Still looking for the child care coordinator.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 18, police.
Hello. First item on the list is police testing. We've advertised, we're holding testing in April. I've reserved some academy spots if necessary. The side agreements are pending. We may be talking about that a little later. The camera system, this is Matt's project, but I put it on my list because it'll be beneficial to us also. But the camera system that is borough-wide for multiple parks and multiple locations has finally started to come together. We had some training on it last Friday. We've already used it in the police department to identify a vehicle involving an incident in Hoffer Park. So we now are able to look at multiple locations on one program or one interface. So that's coming together for us. The 2 new vehicles, which are in the 2026 budget, we've got a delivery time frame for them in July. They're a little less than the fire department's new vehicle. They're
Okay.
about $55,000 and about 15 to 20 for upfitting. The air show is something we need to discuss. The fire police who were very helpful to us last year are volunteer organizations. The air show is a for-profit event. They were advised of the 3rd day and are more than happy to participate, but they're looking for some compensation for their time. The air show has expressed an interest in helping out in these types of things, but it's something I'm going to have to facilitate and work through. Hopefully it'll get worked out because they were very beneficial to us. And now it's 3 days, so our resources will be stretched somewhat thin. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Agenda item 19, joint venture Veolia. No one present tonight.
George is here in the back.
I'm sorry.
George, do you have anything for us tonight? Okay.
Okay.
Sending that letter.
Agenda item 20, council and mayor open time.
I do have something.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I was on council last time, we organized a food drive for the Middletown Food Bank. And I'd like to do it again. Times are tough on people, electricity rates, water rates, people can't afford a simple meal. I called the Middletown Food Bank and spoke with Betsy, who was more than appreciative, said that she would meet us on a Saturday after we did it to put the stuff in the pantry. I asked her what month would be the best, and she actually said June. So I picked June 13th and told her I would bring it to council tonight to ask if anybody wanted to help me. And
That's craft fair weekend.
gosh,
That's craft fair day.
okay, I'll call her tomorrow. Yeah, will the 20th work?
Mm,
June,
I can't do the 20th.
June 20th.
I have company
I'm
in
not here
town
the
that weekend.
20th, but that doesn't mean,
I can do the week after or the first weekend in June.
The 6th.
Mm-hmm.
The 6th or the 27th?
I can't
Yeah.
do that. I can't do the first one.
You can't do the 6th?
I can't do the 27th.
Can anybody else do the 27th?
I can do the 27th.
I think I can.
Yeah, I can.
I'm good all month.
Everybody good?
The 27th?
Yeah.
I am.
I was waiting for Jim.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. All right, then I'll just call her tomorrow and
Okay.
say the 27th.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd want to go back one to Veolia. Is the gentleman here? George?
Actually, I'm here to answer any questions about my.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
All right, so when you were here a couple months ago, we started talking about the service line inspection and how if there's lead, galvanized, all that, it's going to be replaced. You're going to be sending letters to the homeowners to indicate that you need to inspect the line. We're talking about the tool, remember all that, right? So during that conversation at the meeting, you represented that the homeowner would not be billed directly for that service. Subsequent to that meeting, I received a letter as a resident, me living here, that said, this is the program that's gonna be happening, and to contact, and it gave me a number concerning if I needed to finance the bill. So that is a total contradiction to what was represented at the public meeting. So the first question is, what is the truth? Which one is it?
Well, the truth, well, let me back up first.
Excuse me, George, do you mind picking up the mic? Thank you.
I was referring to the actual investigation part where the guy comes in and puts his wand up the line, and there's no cost for that.
No, but respectfully, George, we had a long conversation during that meeting about, so if it's detected, and the meeting, I believe, was videoed, hopefully the audio was captured too, but it was discussed about if that line needs to be replaced, who's going to bear it? And there was an interaction between you and the borough manager, and you said it was Veolia. And then I think he even referenced like, okay, well, yeah, Veolia might cover it, but you're gonna say it's a capital cost recovery charge in the future. Are you billing the residents, or are you paying for it outright and then dealing with it on the back end?
I recall the conversation. Well, after a little bit more research that I looked into it. That language is in there because it's actually a federal program, the EPA, and they actually developed that letter. So they gave us the letter. We had to send it out. There was certain verbiage in there that they have according to the program that they've implemented. And that was one of the things where we didn't have any option to change that.
Okay, so is the answer to the question then that Veolia is going to deal with the replacement and then you're gonna say that that's a capital cost recovery charge in the future? Or is the property owner getting a bill?
The answer to the question is that we, as Veolia, have to come up with a plan to assist the public on how to pay for this. So there's 3 options that's going to be proposed based on what other municipalities are doing. So American Water, if you look at their method, they're paying for it outright for the customer.
The company is.
Yes, yes. The other option is the federal government has put out programs where they can go get low interest, long-term loans so that the customer can pay for it. And then there's another option where we could work together to figure out what's best for the customer to relieve the payment of the lead replacement. So to answer your question is, we have to actually discuss that to come up with the best option for Middletown.
And when is that going, when is the project going to start?
Well, right now, we're still, we're not doing the actual, we're not starting the actual lead inspections until June
Of this year?
of this year, yes. So
Okay.
we have some time to really figure that out. We got to sit down with the joint venture. My next move is to talk to the joint venture. That's why I'm here tonight, to tell them what the options are from the regulatory side, from the Code of Federal Regulations, and see if they are interested in, you know, what option would they like to take.
So one of the things that Georgia's engineer said at a recent meeting is, they felt it was really premature to figure it out yet. They said, let's see if there's 1,000 lines that need to be replaced or 10. Okay, so that's going to probably determine what options we want to pursue and how it gets funded.
We have a bit of time.
So, well, you have to understand you're dealing with a working class town and you're saying June. That's really not that far off. It's
That-
almost April. So this is what I think your company needs to do. Right now, the only correspondence that came from your company, albeit with federal language, is you're paying for it, the resident. That's what these people think. I thought it, I'm an elected official, I got the letter and said, this is not what George told me at the meeting. You guys need to send a letter now that says, hey, there's going to be a discussion about the financing. You previously got a letter that said you are just outright responsible, no ifs, ands, or buts, here's the number to call to talk about financing. I think that there should be a clarification from your company that says, we're correcting a prior letter, there's probably gonna be options on the table, we're in the process of figuring out what those options are, we don't know the scope of the project, to Ken's point, but to just leave people out here floating, thinking, oh my gosh, I may have to pay for this coming up, I don't think that's fair, because it may not even be the option, right? So
Right, no, I agree.
I think
agree.
that Veolia, if we're truly caring about the 10,000 people that live here, should send a letter to clarify that. I don't think it has to be long. It just has to say, there was a piece of information that I know is of concern to you. We're going to provide further information in the future to determine what options are available, whether you're going to cover it or they're going to cover it.
Okay, I do agree, and that's the direction we're going to move. Can't promise anything because there's other stakeholders that have to make the decision with me, but
The joint venture.
yes.
And you could, and I'm not speaking on behalf of this body, I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I have had it with them over the years. This is now customer service. The 10,000 people that live here, you get a letter like that saying, oh, we don't know, we're gonna have to inspect your line, it could have lead in it, and you're gonna be responsible. For people that are making $55,000 between mom and dad in a house in this town, that is terrifying. You guys need to clarify that. So if the joint venture cares at all about the sanity of people living here who are worried about that, because I was contacted and I myself was shocked by that letter after you were at the meeting. That should be clarified now, not when they decide that they're comfortable with it. That's my position. I don't know what they think, but that's how I feel.
Got you. Well, you have my word. I would do everything to ensure that that happens.
Thanks,
okay?
George.
So with the joint venture.
George, one of the other things that's, we should let people know, this thing that's happening in June is the inspections, but then there's going to have to be a report given to the state. Like you guys have to say, here's our plan. And as far as the actual replacement of lines that need to be replaced, that deadline is somewhere out there, years out, isn't it?
10 years.
Yeah, but
I know, but I'm just
I
saying-
get that, but when you're a resident that makes 55 grand between two people and you get that letter, you're starting to go, oh my gosh, am I pulling part of my tax return this year and putting it aside? You don't know what's going on. That letter was vague, it was ambiguous, and it certainly set people off. And I'm representing truthfully that I was contacted about that letter, and I myself was concerned because I sent it to him as soon as I got it.
Yeah.
So that needs to be clarified.
Mr. Curry, I totally understand, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we get that letter out there to clarify that.
I'm sorry that
No,
you're taking the heat.
No, I agree. No,
All
I
right.
agree. I agree. I agree with you
Thanks, George.
wholeheartedly, and I will do that. You have my word on that. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Thank you, George. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were coming. I will know next time.
No worries. I didn't know we weren't represented at these meetings, so I decided to start coming.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate it, George.
Thank you.
Have my total support, I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
See you, take care.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Alan, I'd like to give a little bit of a thanks to Representative Mahaffey for his help in getting PennDOT in here to mill down Main Street,
Okay.
and for Matt to work closely with them to get it all squared away and all the necessary paperwork in to get it done.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Anything else? Then now would be the time for general public comment.
Thank you all for this entire marathon session. I know everybody's tired and wants to go home and go to bed. I'm loud enough in the mic. So I had a small conversation with Mr. Whitebread today, and everybody, I'm not anti-firehouse, but I'm concerned. We got a $1.5 million fire truck we need. We're not gonna get it for what, 4 more years is what he said, I believe? If we give them $800,000 to get a $90,000 discount, and Dawn, you can agree with me, there's not enough fundraisers in this world that we could do to come up with that much money.
He already has 800,000.
We have 800,000, but we still have to finance another, what, 650?
You don't have to.
Roughly. So here's my question. I work in Harrisburg. Because Harrisburg just got brand new fire equipment and a $7 million fund loan, I'm not exactly sure how it's put. I pay $6 to the LST tax to work in Harrisburg. Work in Middletown, you pay $1. What is the option? And I know nobody wants to talk about taxes. Everybody hates taxes. What is our options of temporarily, Harrisburg is doing it for, I believe it was a 10-year stretch, raising our LST tax to $3 per week. Now I know we're a median income. I believe it's 50, 55, 60,000 tops. I know for the courthouse I make 42. But if we could pull out $6, $3 every week for an LST, would that be of a significant amount to help us offset the fire company to get what we need to keep our residents as safe as we can? And then what would we need to do to try to implement that?
Okay. We'll consider. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, thank you all for your
Thank you.
marathon night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other general public comment?
Jack Still. Jack Still, they were talking about Mahaffey and the milling of Main Street. You might want to have the guy in the back do their inspections on Main Street before you blacktop it and dig it up again.
Thank you, John.
They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna dig it up. Are you, wait a minute, are you saying they're gonna, what are you talking about digging it up?
Veolia.
Oh, Veolia? Oh,
If they find lead pipes up there, they're going to dig the street up.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Any other general public comment?
One more.
I'm Alan Prince. Live at 911 Vine Street. I came to council tonight. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I coached football, youth football in Middletown for about 40 years. And coached with the boys club, then it was a youth club. The youth club now no longer exists. So last year I coached with Seven Sorrows. Now there's one team in Middletown, it's called the Mighty Middletown Raiders. I came to council tonight about the buildings at Susquehanna Street. That's where we practice. In the 4 months that we practice there, we make close to $8,000 off of profits for the organization. Last year, we had 200 kids. We had to buy all new uniforms and everything. I contact people that are supposed to be in charge of the youth club. I get no response. I know I was president for years. I was president when we took the gym over. And my question is, but let me before, I find it ironic that MABA has theirs to meet code now, because the same guy that runs youth club runs MABA. He resigned now, okay? But my question is, how can I, with the borough, try to get those buildings for the youth club for football so we can have, I guarantee you, they'll be fixed up and brought up to code. That's my question to borough. No one will answer for anything. They want us to sell us all the equipment. They don't want to give nothing. They don't want to do nothing. They won't tell no one nothing. I question them about what they're going to do with the funds and the equipment. Don't worry about it. The board will decide it. Well, there is no board. How can they decide it? That concession stand and shed is a very valuable piece of equipment to Middletown, Middletown football.
Right.
It's no longer involved with Middletown Youth Club. It's called the Middletown Mighty Raiders. Like I said, we had like 200 kids last year. And if there's any way that I get those sheds, I'll get them fixed up. I guarantee you they'll be working good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Any other general public comment? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye.
Second, third, fourth, fifth.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm hot.
Is this yours? I got hearings at like 8:30, so.